game week. Anytime you have game week, you know that the fans start rolling towards the football season. You know everybody's here. And you're now at the beginning of what I love to call the start of what is called the chaos. But as we always do, Clark Kent glasses come off. Big Sills, how you doing, brother? That's how we start this bad puppy off, and that's how we've always started this bad puppy off. And I got to tell you, football on Friday. We're going to talk a little bit about Kellen Moore. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the players and their comments and what they've been saying. No question about it, too. There is, I believe, going to be a Howie Roseman deal yet to be made. I think there is a Howie Roseman deal to be made. There could actually be two Howie Roseman deals to be made. All right, guys, as we always do, yesterday, you guys were absolutely freaking insane. You so were awesome yesterday with the likes. Please hit it. You got well over 300 and some odd likes like 5 minutes after the program. Do me a favor, please hit the like button, and we so appreciate you guys coming aboard. The question will be on Friday. Do you play your veteran players? How many of your veteran players should you play? Is there a need to play your veteran players? Kyle says, Sills, should the Eagles look at edge rusher Neil Smith, and should he be in the Hall of Fame? Kyle, I think that Neil Smith is an absolutely fabulous football player, played in a great era of defensive ends. I love Neil Smith. He is absolutely great. Love it. No question about it. Neil's a great player. He's probably in that same Leslie O'Neal kind of deal. Leslie O'Neal needs to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well. Okay? Howie helped Gannon and Quinn, Sue and Joseph. He'll help Vic. Could be. Aloha, Sills. Jake from the 808, home of my dear friend, The Rock. Madness, appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming aboard. All of you that also are in dissenting views sometimes with Big Sills, we appreciate you coming aboard. I do believe that there is going to be a move. Prince, before we start off, how you doing, Bob Brown, who has spectacular takes? Spectacular takes. Prince, I'm going to start it off with you because you're the hardest working man on the National Football Show. What would you attack first on a need? Edge or wide receiver 3 or linebacker? A good day, Big Sills and Xander. By the way, Gary Cobb at 4:30. Thanks for reminding me. Prince, what would you tackle first? No pun intended. Nick says safety. Real RMP says linebacker. Andreas, linebacker. Jalen Hurts looks good in practice. Still, safety, Justin Simmons. Prince, you and me are on the same page. And Prince, tell me if you're here because of Justin Simmons. Now, Twiz, listen to the reasoning here. Twiz, I get it. You're right. You're not wrong, okay? But, Prince, are you here because the linebackers aren't going to be very good tacklers? You need to have competent people back there at safety. You have to have competent people. You can't have inexperience. By the way, Reed Blankenship is decent. Justin Simmons is second team All-Pro. I'm not looking for Justin Simmons 2-3 years from now. I'm looking for Justin Simmons to have an impact this year. Justin Simmons can help. Prince, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Okay? Guys, please hit the like button. All of you too, by the way, that come aboard on all of our platforms. X, Facebook, Twitch. We so appreciate it. Here, obviously, on the network, we So appreciate it. I like Devin White. He's going to be good. Mr. Perez, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. I'll get into some of that. But talk is cheap, man. By the way, Gardner Johnson, it's being reported, went in for an MRI today. Hey, Prince, does that accentuate the safety position even more now? Is that Gardner Johnson had an MRI today. And John Clark from NBC Philly is reporting that. Does that accentuate that? It's one of the reasons you still have James Bradbury on the team. Okay? Devin White was just on the Pivot podcast. Apparently, he got hurt when he played against us and tried to keep playing through it. That's not true. They benched him. I talked to those guys down there, and I know those men, like Bruce Arians, who's been on this program. That's an absolute lie. If Devin White said that, kudos to him for trying to come up with an excuse for why they benched him. But he was a healthy bench in that football game against the Eagles. Okay? He was a healthy bench. That's not true. That is not true. Absolutely. He did not. Dude, really? So you're trying to tell me the reason he signed a one-year prove-it $3 million deal is because he got hurt last year when he was negotiating at the beginning of the year a $100 million deal. Come on, dude. Let's not be stupid here. He's lying. It's okay. And he's trying to come up with excuses why his failure in Tampa and why he failed in Tampa after his second year. Absolutely not true. They benched him. Jason Light told me they benched him, and so did Bruce Arians say they benched him. So him going on a podcast, coming up with excuses, that's a red flag for me. Please hit the like button. Thank you. I appreciate everybody getting out to a great start already, man. You said Jalen wasn't injured too. I asked coaches, Sam, on the team. I didn't know. By the way, once again, Sam, that was, hey, never on IR. No one missed any games. As far as I'm concerned, he wasn't hurt still to this day. Was he banged up and nicked up? Okay. Is he healthier today? Welcome to the NFL. Never on injured reserve. Never missed a game. Don't talk to me about being injured. You have no facts he was injured, Jalen Hurts. Zero facts. Still, Gardner Johnson's medical change is the focus on any acquisition. It's if he's really hurt, safety is a must. We'll need someone to captain the back four. Absolutely. Not a huge Devin White guy, but the guy's motivated. Now, I would say that's true, Jack. Jack, I think he's motivated. Jack, I don't think he's motivated by the money. Well, everyone is in pros. He's probably motivated for a second chance. So I think he's motivated by the second chance. Okay. You can be. Hey, man, it's an opportunity in clearing the slate. So, yeah, that's probably even more why he's motivated. Okay, yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Money, wanting to get back into being considered one of the better players. We're going to talk about Devin White here. Feels Jalen made a business decision because he was hurt. Okay? He made a business decision. So instead of playing or sitting, he decided to go out and play, thinking that was in the best interest of the team. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. Okay? I don't. If Jalen played through nagging injuries that he had that didn't keep him out of games, I can't begrudge a guy for wanting to help his football team become an NFC championship team. I'm not. So to your point, okay. All right? I don't like giving excuses up for people here. Had one down year. Hey, Eagle, look at Eagle guy. He's only had one good year. Guy's been in the league 5 years, Eagle realist. Why don't you be a realist? He's had one season. I wouldn't write home about that. One season. Get this. He's only had one down season. Well, let's apply your thinking. Okay, Eagle fan. What other season did you think he played great in? What other season? Seals, with our new coordinators, ideally, I believe we should play because reps is what we need, especially for defense. Injuries are always a risk. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. You got to be careful. How many guys should play on Friday? I think that entire defense should play. Maybe not so much the two defensive tackles in there, but you got two new coordinators. You got a bunch of new faces on defense. Nah, you're wrong, bro. He had one bad season. He's only had one good season. Stop doing that. 2021 was fair. 22 was great. 23 was up and down. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Deal with reality. I saw that, James Jones. The Bears are not going to play. The Bears are not going to play Caleb Williams, but the Washington Commanders are going to play Jaden Daniels. I love that. I do. I agree with 21. Be fair. I am being fair. One good season he's had. That's it. You just hate the dude. I don't know the dude to hate him. Unlike you, Eagle Realist, I don't hate people I don't know or never met. That's internet bullshit. I don't call people racist, or I don't call people that I hate. Because if I've never met you, how in the world could I make those assessments about you? Why? Because realists or people like you post shit? Give me a break, guy. Have a mind of your own and have thoughts of your own. Do me a favor. Think about it. Sills, the new scheme requires that the D gets comfortable working as a unit. Communications is going to be key to this unit. Completely true. Completely true. I really did like the 21 season. Dude, the 21 season, he was okay. I wouldn't call that a great year. 22 touchdowns, 3,600 passing yards, whatever the hell it was. Not elite. What's your thoughts on Ayuk? Yeah, it was reported yesterday that the Steelers made a play for him. Untrue. I think it's crazy that the 49ers, I do believe that the 49ers are getting tired of that whole deal. I really do. I think they're getting tired of that, and I believe they're going to try to move him. Thank you, Prince. Prince keeps reminding us, please hit the like button. You guys are killing it already. Chances of signing Justin Simmons, depending on what Gardner Johnson's injury is, and now that Cooper DeJean is injured too, I think that thing expedites. Lord Vaughn goes, Saquon sucks too, right? No. Saquon's a decent player. Never lived up to the second pick in the draft, but he's a good player. I'm going to talk about him today. Okay? I do, and I am. Sills, do you think the Eagles middle linebacker is on the roster yet? Oh, I do. I think the middle linebacker is on the roster. Sue says Gardner Johnson always hurt. Seems to be. Okay? Purdy is the one to not pay. Why? He does the same shit Jalen does. He's been to 2 NFC title games. He's got a lot of talent on his team. What has Jalen done more than Brock Purdy? Why wouldn't you pay him? You pay Jalen. Give me one thing that Brock Purdy's done. Or, Jalen has done more than Purdy. Purdy's won more, been to more conference title games, been to a Super Bowl too, threw for 4,100 yards. Why wouldn't you pay him? Why wouldn't you pay him? He's actually been to 2 conference title games, 2 consecutive years. Rushing TDs, you can keep them. You can keep your rushing TDs. Okay? I'll take the passing 31 touchdowns. Second in the MVP race. I'll take that. Shooter goes, please, Dan, Purdy is average quarterback. Dude, what has Jalen Hurts done more than Purdy? I'm going to be fair here to this. Shooter, what has he done more when it comes to winning? You guys want to use the metric on winning all the time when you're talking about Josh Allen? Well, let's use it on Purdy. You say that Allen doesn't win in the postseason or Lamar doesn't win, okay? This guy does. So you wobble back and forth whenever it fits your narrative? Is that what you're saying? Is that, well, Jalen wins more. Well, Purdy wins more than Jalen. Okay? and of course, Eagle Realist, of course he likes Purdy. He's white. See? Guy like that, man. Anytime these guys, some of these dudes who have to defend their fucking side of the aisle, always go to race. Bro, I will never hide under my desk. Fuck that take. It's a weak-ass, lame-ass take. It's an internet take, man. You're full of that shit. Good for you, man. Yeah, of course. No, I like winning. That's the only color I like, my friend, is winning. Winning in green. Depending on how Becton develops, do you think they might try him out at tackle? Or will they look at a draft to replace Lane? They could slide him out there. They could totally slide him out there. Okay, they could. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. Hey, I know, isn't it? Thank you, Rick. Race card especially in our show, stupidest thing you can talk about. It really is. He must be new. Feels Drake Greenlaw is a free agent at the end of the season. Man, I like him a lot, Bob. I like Drake Greenlaw a lot. Runs to the ball, kicks people's asses. I am a big, tough as hell. Man, I'd love to have him. No question about it. Would I love to have him? Please hit the like button. Hurts has the ability to win games with his legs. He sure does. He needs them to win games. Without his legs, he won't win games. Okay? Brock Purdy, let's see what happens in the next 2 years. Okay? Fair enough. Fair enough. Ayuk is way better than Deebo Samuel. I wouldn't say way better. I think he's utilized differently. I hit the like button. It was difficult to get past. You didn't go to FSU. I closed my eyes. Hey, Scott. Scott, just so you know, to make you feel better, Scott, my wife loves Bobby Bowden. She actually loves Bobby Bowden more than she loves Jimmy. Okay? Just so you know, she loves FSU. My wife's actually an FSU fan. Just so you know. We have a little parody in the house here. My wife digs FSU. Sills, game, I'm hot today. Hell yeah. Ayuk is downfield wide receiver. Debo's a running back playing wide receiver. I think he's more utilized than what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. You need to bring Jimmy Johnson on your show. I've already had him on Ultra Cowboy. Probably. What do you think, Joe? How many times have we had Jimmy Johnson on? 10? We've probably had Coach Johnson on 10 times. Would you say that? Probably something like that. 10. Ultra Cowboy. He'll be on again. We've had him about 10 times on the program. So be all good there, man. We'll be able to sign Greenlaw with, dude, I'd love to get Dre Greenlaw. I really would. I think he's an absolutely fabulous football player. That would be somebody that the Eagles would really love to have, in my opinion, with that football team, and especially at the linebacker core. Please hit the like button. I see we're having a little bit of an internet issue here. Hopefully this thing clears up here. Sills, I respect the content you put out every day. You keep it real. I wish other people could do it. Hard to do that nowadays, my friend. It really is, because you know what they do? Most people today are cheerleaders. Most people are cheerleaders. Bro, Greenlaw just tore. No shit, he just tore his Achilles. That doesn't end his career. That doesn't end his career. Seals, Jalen is number one completion away from breaking a camp record for most without an INT. Personally, I think that thing is one of the stupidest comments I've ever seen a sideline reporter make, but I actually think there's some context to it. There's actually some context, and we're going to get to it here. So, yeah, but giving me stats from practice is the dopiest thing you can do. All right. I want to get to Kellen Moore. And then we're going to go to some of the players and Big Sills takeaways from Kellen Moore. Please hit the like button, guys. You don't think the effects of linebacker, your fat ass, you just likes to hear yourself talk. So when Ray Lewis hurt his Achilles and he had a knee injury, he'd go on to win the Super Bowl MVP. Get a clue, guy. Get a clue. Get a clue. Still another guy to look at from Denver. I like that kid. Plus, he played in Fangio's system. Okay? Absolutely, man. The man was limping. Dude, how dumb can you get? So wait a minute. Get this. I'm going to show you something stupid here on a stupid take. Watch this. Where is that guy talking? Here. Not him. Here, this guy here. Let me show you how dumb this take is. So you'd rather fucking sign guys who suck than guys who are good and take a shot at a guy who's good for almost the same money. You'd rather sign the shitbag linebackers you have now. Really? Hey, don't sign Greenlaw. He's coming off an injury. So you turn around and sign losers. Really? Give me a guy who's considered one of the top linebackers in the NFL any day coming off an injury versus somebody who's barely making a roster. Got to give me a break. Dude, what are you talking about? You don't have a linebacker on your football team that a team would want. Even in special teams. Even in special teams, nobody would want him. I say Greenlaw Philly deal will be ready by probably week 5. Just in time to get him on the field for a stretch run for the Super Bowl for them. Okay? Everyone wants Devin White. No, they don't. For 1 year, $3 million. Yeah, that's some deal. Hey, that's some deal. No. Everyone wanted Patrick Queen. 3 years, $18 million per. That's what they wanted. 3 years, $18 million versus 1 year, $3 million. And prove it to me, guy. Ugh. Seals, do you think Sirianni's worried about losing his job to Kellen? Actually, Justo, no, I don't. If Nick Sirianni gets that football team to the NFC title game, they're molding Nick Sirianni into the exact kind of coach they want. A guy who will listen to what they're saying, deal with analytics. Howie Roseman makes all the calls and personnel and coaching hires. He is the perfect coach for Jeffrey Lurie and what Jeffrey Lurie wants. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with that style of coach, but it's something that they enjoy. You see, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with that style. Players in the building have to trust your coach. I mean, he's got to have some say. And as Angelo said, he has no say. Zero. By the way, when you hear the coordinator saying, well, Nick will make that call on Friday on who plays, think about this, guys. Hey, Prince, do you agree with this? Let's let Prince answer this. Okay? Prince, let's let you answer this. Hey, Prince, when Vic Fangio said this the other day, that Nick will make that call on Friday on what veterans play, do you think he's waiting to get word from upstairs before he conveys that message to the players? Or do you really believe he's going to make that organizational decision? You tell me. Prince, I'll let you answer that. Whatever Prince says. Prince, do you think Nick's making... Okay? Do you think the front office, he's waiting, Prince, he's waiting to hear what the front office wants to do? Right? Prince, Vic is playing chess. That's right. He has no say in if those players are playing or who's playing Friday. Front office is making that pick. Prince knows this. Hey, by the way, for you guys, I don't mean to single Prince out here with this, but he ain't no yes man on this show. You all know that. He gets in my shit all the time. But he at least knows one thing. How this bitch is run. I'm talking about the Eagles. Calling Sills racist is like ESP calling D-Jax a gang member. I mean, thank you, Sean. It's just, I've said, hey, Sean, one thing I got to say, though, I've said some dumb shit before. I can't lie. I've said some dumb shit before, dude. Hey, my wife even has said it. Dude, you talk stupid sometimes. So just so you know, still, so the Eagles make a move for Greenlaw. This would be at the end of the year, obviously. Are the Eagles a Super Bowl contender? Dude, you put Dre Greenlaw in the middle of that football field and you start maturing some of your players in the back end, that ties loose ends. That just ties loose ends, dude. Okay? See, this is clearly an asshole comment. It's clearly an a-hole comment. Oh, no, hey, Daniel, end of the year. That's what we're talking here. That's what we're talking. All right, let's get into what I took away. Remember what I say to you. I don't listen to reporters reporting on what someone says. I've always thought that's the dumbest thing on the planet. I don't need a beat reporter. I'm going to get it from the coach's mouth or the players' mouths. Why do I have to have an interpreter? Think about something that we do here versus everywhere else. Okay? I read you quotes from coaches. Some of you think they're my takes. These are all Kellen Moore's quotes. I'm going to comment on them, and you're going to tell me if you don't think that I'm listening to it correctly. Most of you say that. But the one thing I'm not going to do is report something to you and tell you what I heard. Look, I write quotes down. That's how I do my show. So I don't need an interpreter. Anyone bringing up race wasn't raised correctly. Anyway, what is your take on Vic wanting Milton Williams on Miami. What do you think of McKee? Milton Williams is a great-looking ball player, man. He's versatile. Play him in a 7-5, 3 technique, 1 technique over the nose, benches over 500 pounds, has got great feet. He's going to make a ton of money on the open market, my friend. He totally is going to make a lot of money. And if you don't re-sign him, that'll be a loss. You developed a third. I'll tell you this. If you let Milton Williams go, it could almost be as devastating as you letting TJ Edwards go. Because Milton Williams could go somewhere and start. And I'll make another point to you. I told John Gruden and I told Bruce Allen when they had Michael Bennett in Tampa, I think Michael Bennett had been cut by the New Orleans Saints or something. I forget what happened. The Bucs had him for a year. I told the Bucs, you need to sign this guy. This guy gets after the quarterback and he gets around that horn. I wouldn't let him go. Guy goes up to Seattle and has a Hall of Fame career up in Seattle. I mean, certain guys you see can play. Milton can play. The kid McKee has made the competition for backup quarterback a lot closer than what people say. But if you let Milton Williams walk out the building, Milton Williams could go somewhere and make a Pro Bowl. And that is something I don't want to see. Okay? That's something I don't want to see. That guy could roll up there to that to a team like the Rams. He could make a Pro Bowl. Okay? So, here we go. This is Kellen Moore's press conference and Big Sil's takeaways. Then we're going to talk some of the players here. They've pretty much got, he says, the installments in right now. Now it's more about finding combinations and finding player matchups and what they're going to do as they get ready to play quality reps on Friday against the Ravens. Sills, I don't agree with all your takes and your ego when Xander wins a debate. But having said that, at least you have principle and you know your stuff. 34. Thank you, man. And 34, I appreciate you being here every day. Means a lot. And by the way, thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate that. Means a lot. Look at hey, get this. Even Dick Train, he's here every day. Talking shit, posting shit, what have you. C24, all these guys who come here and post shit, say shit. I let them. You know why? Engagement. Algorithm. Thank you. Keep it up. That's why we don't block anyone. Why would I block somebody who posts 700 or 7,000? Why would I want to get rid of you when you post 7,000 posts a week? All good. I told you Milton Williams was the guy. How you doing? Let's go over 300 likes. I'm pumped. Love it. Mr. International, you sure are too, my friend. You sure are. Okay? There you go, Prince. Absolutely. Anybody can speak their mind. You got guys in here insulting my daughter. Doesn't bug me. Like Tim Tebow. When the LSU fans were going after his sister, that's part of it. I don't get bent. That doesn't get to me. You're here. Just like I said, we're getting Ice Cube on Thursday. And my boy Ice Cube's coming on. And just like Eazy-E said in that movie Straight Outta Compton, I don't give a shit what you do with the albums. You want to burn them? Fine. You bought them. Okay? You bought them. I like what Kellen said. So they got pretty much all the installments in. It's good. Good stuff, man. Now it's going to be finding player combinations. Okay? Okay? He was asked about being under center, if that's going to be, he goes, It's got to evolve into being something that's generic and not something that we're making happen. That's going to be an evolution on still working on that with the quarterback and the quarterback feeling comfortable. There is no question Kellen Moore is making this offense to fit this kid's abilities. The battle, as you guys mentioned, for the backup position has gotten tighter with Tyler McKee. Okay. And with Kenny Pickett, which is kind of surprising, but maybe not. So that's a really good thing. You're developing a quarterback at the second team position. Kudos to Kellen Moore. Who the F insulted Sill's daughter? That's too far. I'll send another. Hey, Pickett. Hey, Big Marshall. It's all good. Okay. It's all good. Okay. Let's see here. Do you believe Cooper DeJean getting hurt throws up red flags in terms of durability? No, not yet, Justo. Not yet. Okay, not yet. I do not. Okay. Jalen has been outstanding and getting better. What's that stupidity stat that ESP is putting out there on that WIP Twitter page? What's that preposterous stat that he's putting out? There's some sort of like really weird stat. I didn't even know people kept shit like that when it came to that stuff. What's the one stupid stat that he's posting on IP's Twitter about Hurts? Is it something to do with like consecutive passes without throwing a pick or something like that? Is that what it is? You said yesterday Milton Williams was picked in the third round and you could still get a third round pick for him. That says it all. Absolutely, Steve. He never lost his value. I think you can get a 2 for him. And he never started, really. I think you can get a 2 for him. But wait a minute here. Kyle says yes, but stupid stat. Well, one thing is for sure. He's made an effort not to turn the ball over this spring. And that plagued him last year. That ESP stupid stat doesn't matter. But the significance of it is that Jalen Hurts is concentrating on turnovers or the lack thereof. He probably has no idea about what ESP is talking about. But I'll tell you what he does know. The ball hasn't hit the ground much, and he's thrown probably 1 or 2 errant passes this entire spring. So you can take this to the bank. There is no question that player, Ken's right. The defense isn't all that. I'm with you, Ken. Still, you're into 2 weeks of camp and you haven't thrown errant passes where you're looking like even Dak or Purdy or some of these other guys. And you're hearing coaches say that, he's picked the system up well. He's communicating well. He has made an effort. Okay? Has made an effort not to turn the ball over. Good for him. Probably his number one priority. Don't turn the ball over and we'll win. Friday, Kellen Moore is looking for a clean operation. That's kind of the words that he likes to use. Doesn't want to see mistakes. What's the number one thing? Hey, Bob Brown, you're in here. What's the number one thing that drives coaches mad in exhibition football games? By the way, the Ravens have won 24 consecutive games. What does that tell you about the Ravens? First, second, and third team are going to be ready to play. First, second, and third teams are going to be ready to play. That just shows you that they take those quality reps, and it matters to them. Not running the play as designed. No communication, Sills. Bengals are going to win the AFC. We'll see. Hey, how about this? Pre-snap penalties. Drives everyone insane, especially on the offensive side. The worst penalties you can have is alignment penalties because it takes no athleticism to line up in the right spot. That's what he means by when Kellen Moore says, I'm looking for a clean operation on Friday. He's looking for non-pre-snap penalties. Drives people insane when you're doing that. Pre-snap penalties. Okay? And you see a ton of them because you got different personnel coming in and out on the first and second and third teams. So you're going to have a lot of that. That's why, and that's what the phrasing means. Okay? That's what the phrasing means when he says, hey, we want to have a clean operation. Okay? Eagles defense just needs to either stop the run, stop the pass, be in the NFC Championship game. Yeah? Well, where were you a year ago? I loved Hurts in college. That fumble in a Super Bowl still hurts. Well, it was one of the key deciding factors in the game. Okay? Appreciate it, Big Marshall. Thank you, my friend. Let's move on. Britton Covey. And Kellen was asked the question, what kind of camp is he having? He's having a really good camp. And I guess the comparisons on Cole Beasley are being made to Britton Covey. Britton Covey's getting better as a player. He's getting better as a player. It's good to hear. He's getting better. Special teams, maybe wide receiver 3, he's going to get reps. But he's getting player. He's getting. Okay? But remember something here. You're not talking about Devontae Adams or Devontae Smith here or A.J. Brown. You're talking about a role player. Every team needs role players. He's a good-looking role player. Alex Hunt will have a bigger impact than Bryce Huff. Better hope not, because that's a failure by Howie. That's a failure by Howie. If Covey turns into Beasley, that would be a huge turnaround. I agree, Bob, because I haven't seen that yet. Okay? I have not seen that yet. Okay? Let's see here. Let's move on here. Jalen Hurts and adjustments, he says, have been great. Bob, do me a favor if you're in here, or even Prince. Or how about this one? Adjustments have been great. What do you think the biggest adjustment Jalen Hurts now has in the toolbox that he's been taught so early in the development between him and Kellen Moore? What do you think has been his biggest impact so far to Jalen Hurts? And this is a quote from Kellen Moore. His adjustments have been great. He's seeing a lot of things. Here it is. The check down. Simple, isn't it? The check down. Right on. If Jalen Hurts throws 75 checkdowns this year, he'll throw for 4,200 yards. He'll throw for 4,200 yards. Might get up near 28 touchdown passes. Two dudes have dominated the NFL with checkdowns. Mahomes and Brady. In today's spread offense and spacing, like Vic said the other day, it's not about explosion plays, Nick. It's about high percentage completion play. That's what this is about. The Eagles' approach to games is flawed, but Moore is making it so, hey, we've implemented checkdowns. The last 2 years, Jalen Hurts has had to throw the toughest passes on the planet. Why? Because he was making the hardest throws. How many quarterbacks do you know don't have a short intermediate passing game? Or don't throw to the tight ends a ton? I mean, so when this guy throws for 3,800 yards, they're all plus 15 plays. How many times do you see Brady throwing plus 15 yarders to his receivers? Half the time? What up, Maniac? Appreciate you being here, brother. He'll throw for 4,200 yards. Sills, long home run passes have tight windows, high risk, high turnover is what he's saying. Throwing the checkdowns is like throwing an open door with minimal risk. It's a no-brainer. You get this. Move to improve completion percentage and third down percentage. Absolutely everything Bob Brown just said there is dead on. Hurts' completion percentage will be up. He could be one of the top guys in the league with a checkdown game. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sills, last time I saw was Big Ben early in his career. That's what Big Ben did. He was a checkdown king, man. That especially when he had Cower. Let's move on here. Decision making has been excellent, according to Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore and him, what are you seeing? What are you liking? This is where Nick could be the really good coach. Get out of the way. Hey, this is like being a parent. I think too many times when you got so many voices, and I'm not telling anybody how to parent here, but when you got 15 voices in a kid's ear, it becomes confusing. But when you got one voice in a kid's ear, I think you have clarity. I think you have clarity. And for the first time, maybe since Shane Steichen, there's clarity. Sills, you think Hurts will get reps on Friday? I do not. I do not think he'll get reps. I don't. Getting clarity. Kellen was asked the question about working around Mike McCarthy, and he kind of gave a brushed off answer. Did he learn from Mike McCarthy? I think when you're a quarterback and you play that position like Frank Reich and Doug Peterson, or you're a backup quarterback, I think you have a different perspective of the game because you see the game differently. You have to prepare knowing full well you're not going to get into the game. So you're constantly on edge at any moment you could be put into a game. I think Kellen calls plays, and I think he's building this offense how he would want the offense to be built around him. And I think that's a great advantage to have. A guy who has played college and pro football as your coach and your coordinator. And I think this kind of reminds me a little bit of Frank Reich and Doug Peterson working with Carson Wentz and with Nick Foles. This kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Okay? Kind of reminds me a bit about that. Yes. Okay. Reggie goes that Jalen Hurts was subpar last camp. He didn't have the best camp. It wobbled last year. It did. You're right. He didn't have a great camp last year. Okay. You're right. New offense. Hurts should play. And starting O-line, no Saquon, no Smitty, no AJ. No way. If I'm gonna play Jalen Hurts, I'm putting the National Guard unit out there with him. I'm not putting him with lesser players. No, thank you. Are you crazy? Put him out there, what? The third team O-line? Third team receivers? Get my quarterback hit in the face on a turn back when the guy's blitzing, he's trying to make a ball team, or a guy's trying to get to the quarterback and he's rolling around, he blows my QB's knee out? No, thank you. I'm not interested in that. No way would I be playing Jalen Hurts without the National Guard out there. I'm going to put the best players, the biggest players. Shit, I might even suit up Big Dom. That ain't happening. No, thank you. He was asked the question about using Jalen Hurts' legs. Long season, he said. We've got to be smart on this. We absolutely have to be smart on this when we're talking about using his legs, which means to me, folks, the RPO is gone. But the RPO could be pulled out when needed. I don't know. Hey, is it important for me to win a game against the Washington Commanders in September? No. Is it important that Hurts is in good shape in December? Yes. I don't want to win a battle to lose the war. And I think that's how Kansas City now looks at Mahomes. Mahomes ain't running RPOs against the Raiders in October. Why? What's the point? So he can get an extra 3 yards and get killed? No, thank you. What's the point of that? This is about the war of attrition. Save the RPO for the playoffs. Think about this something, Brian. Brian, do you agree when I say this? Patrick Mahomes saved the RPO for the second half of the Super Bowl. Right? He pulled out the RPO in the second half of the Super Bowl. Down 10. He needed to do something to win that ball game because the Niners had it. So he pulled something out after Greenlaw went out, especially. He said, hey, dude, that 64 yards rushing was the reason they won the Super Bowl. Was the reason they were winning the Super Bowl. Okay? Hurts and Cam in the O-line. This is what Kellen Moore is saying they're doing now, which is pretty cool. They're talking all the time about protection. What'd you say? Hey, maybe if we did this, this is what I saw in this process. This is what I was watching in the process. So I was like this. I'm like, that's great. You know, after like they have a drive or something that they're in camp 7-on-7, 9-on-7, what have you, scrimmage. They're going like this. Cam, what'd you see there? I saw this. Did you see the same thing? And Kellen's saying they're all communicating with one another. That's great. Dan Sileo, I see Jeremiah Trotter Jr. out there today. He actually looks solid. I'll tell you one thing about him that is starting to rear its head about Jeremiah Trotter. He may not be fast, but the one thing that he does not do, that Nakobe Dean does, he has no false steps. And what I mean by that is Nakobe Dean watches the ball and he doesn't watch his keys. You know why he doesn't watch his keys? He can't take on the guard because he's too small. Trotter's got a thick bottom, big legs. And he takes on and he knows he's got to have contact. He knows how to play the position. I don't know what kind of career he's going to have. I don't know what kind of player he's going to have. And some guys in here are going, he's solid. I'll tell you one thing. He's solid. I've never seen Dean solid. I've never seen the Kobe Dean where I went. That was solid. Okay? I've never seen that. Trotter makes no false steps. And he makes up for it with his knowledge of the game. Okay? He does. He's a smart-looking player. Knowing what to do is a huge factor. And knowing what you're looking at too, CD. CD, knowing what you're looking at. Knowing what you're looking at is enormous. Okay? Brought up the point of working with Jeff Stoutland. This is what got Kellen Moore the job and not Cliff Kingsbury. Working with him has been great. It was kind of generic, though, because he may have a different formula on how he wants to do pass protections on what Kellen wants. Because I'll tell you one thing that is clearly different in the Kellen Moore offense than it was in Dallas. It's the fact that in Dallas, those dudes in Dallas, they did a lot of fan protection. They're not doing that here. And I wonder if that was something that maybe he wanted to bring his own offensive line coach in. But the key component was, if you want the job, Stoutland comes with it. And that's a deal breaker for me too. If Jeff Stoutland is not your offensive line coach, there's too many guys out there that have the ability to sit here and do exactly what we're looking for. That's a deal breaker. That's an absolute deal breaker for me. It is. It's a deal breaker. He said working with Vic Fangio has been absolutely awesome. He said that, he was asked a question on being challenged. And he said that, one thing you're looking at when you see something with Vic Fangio, there's no question. You're seeing multiple looks. You're seeing multiple pressure. You're seeing everything when it comes to defensive line stuff. And you can see it's a challenge when you're playing against those guys. Okay? I mean, it's a good thing here. Okay? That's a phenomenal conversation. And Kellen Moore, again, 12, 13 minutes. I think he gives you a ton in what he's saying here. Okay? All right, guys. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. And I got to tell you, Big Sale's here for BetUS. I've been talking to my friends over the last couple of days at BetUS. They are so excited to start a brand new relationship with us here at JAKIB Sports. And if you guys are looking for a new book this football season, this is exactly the place that you're going to want to be this entire season. Right now, you can get 125% in sign-up bonuses. That's $2,000. And you got to love this. Also, you can get 200% in crypto. That's a crypto bonus that you get right here with BetUS and our friends. And you know what, man? I got to tell you, this is exactly the place that you want to be this entire fall. No mistake about it. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. This is where Michael Vick goes, man. This is the home of Michael Vick here, man. Fastest payouts in the business, 24/7, personalized service, 365 days a year. Live wagers on all major games. That's right. Plus, get this. If you want a personalized guy to handle your account, they have it for you at BetUS. That's betus.com.pa. betus.com.pa. And do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
Michael Vick at betus.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Gotta love Jim Harbaugh. By the way, please hit the like button. Gary Cobb at 4:30. We appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for picking us each and every single day, Monday through Friday. We so appreciate it. Before I get into some of the players on the Eagles talking at camp here, gotta love Jim Harbaugh. This Connor Stallion thing with the illegal something or another about watching practices and whatever the thing is that the NCAA is trying to wrap their face around, because the National Communist Association of America is the organization that has to be exploded. It is the most corrupt organization next to FIFA, next to the IOC, of any organization on the planet. The National Communist Association of America used to believe that the players were there for their whims. ADs making money. Schools making money. Taking the kid's image. When I signed a scholarship to play at the University of Miami, I didn't sign a lifetime slave contract with you that you had my likeness for the rest of my life, that you could sell to this day season tickets off of 93. Do you know that they do that? There's a radio station in South Florida that still to this day puts up an ad 3 for 93. I never gave you fucking permission for that, and I love the U. But I can't stand Beasley. I didn't give you the right for that. Where do you come off making money off my name? You want me to show you the ad? I can easily show you the ad. I didn't give you a right to use my likeness. Where did you come off with that? By the way, again, Mario asked me if it's okay at the end of the day, and I did. But I didn't give you the right. You just assumed that it was okay for you to do that. 3 for 93, I think it's called. 3 for 93. It's they sell season tickets. When it comes to these ads, and they put it out there, and that's how they're doing some of the tickets. I mean, you don't have that right. So when Jim Harbaugh was asked, he's like this, and he has a perfect answer for it. You know what he says? He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I have nothing to do with it. I don't know. I didn't know anything what he was doing. I have no idea what he was talking about. That's the perfect way. I can't find this ad. I'll post it on my Twitter when I find it. Yeah, these guys used to sell commercial spots on radio with my likeness and my name just to sell tickets. I'm going like, where'd you get that? Who told you that was cool? Who told you that thing was cool? But that's something there that, once again, the NCAA no longer has the right to do to kids. Sills, how good is the edge rusher from Texas A&M? I think he's pretty good, but I would take the two dudes that you have at Ohio State. I think them guys are a little bit better. 8. I'll say this. Let's get into the players here. Let's get into the players. I really like some of the players and what they said. It was pretty good. Kind of telling on what the players were saying. Let me get to the players here. All right. Let's go with Zach Bond. I didn't know Sills looked. Hey, hit the like button, please. Way to go, Prince. Thank you, guys. Okay? Sills, you can never go wrong with the Ohio State edge rushers. No, they always put out really great ones. Okay? Oh, fantastic. Do you believe the ability to cover is pure technique for linebackers, or is it purely physical? I think it's a combo. Bench Eagle podcast, I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination that you have to have. Okay? All right. Here's Zach Bond talking. Here are my takeaways. Loves the Vic Fangio system and its structure. It's got a sense of toughness to it. You can't run that system and not have toughness inside that system. Coaches have been pointing out his toughness. I think that's a poor sign for Nakobe and everyone else. One thing I've never heard, and do you guys agree? One thing I've never heard an Eagle coach, GM, or head coach use the word toughness in Nakobe Dean in a sentence. I've never heard that. Never. Sills, these new tackling rules are not being talked about enough. I'd love your take on it. Do you think this will be a problem? I think you're going to see a ton of missed tackles this season, and you're going to see a ton of guys with big, giant numbers. I think there could be 3 or 4 wide receivers this year with over 1,800 yards receiving because of these new rules. Okay, I do. I think you're going to see a lot of offense this year. You're probably going to see a couple guys over 5,000 yards passing, probably 3 or 4 guys. You're going to see so many guys with 100 catch seasons. You can't get guys that you can't use the hip drop tackle any longer. Getting guys on the ground. That's why maybe a guy like Isaiah Rodgers fits in today's NFL. He probably fits in today's NFL. You don't have to be physical. Being a physical corner today doesn't help you. It may hurt you. Two-hand touch league. We're getting there, my friend. We're getting there. There was asked the question, what was his biggest aspect and his asset that he has and he brings to a team? He says, I don't run to the ball, I run through the ball. I can't tell you what a great thing that is to listen to an old school kid who's a young player who talks old school. How many times I tell my daughter all the time when she's playing rugby and knocking people out. Never run to the ball, you get knocked on your ass. Run through it, you'll knock people on their ass. And that's why my daughter was a 3-year captain on her team that finished number 2 in the nation. Because she ran people over. I taught her how to hit. And this is kind of what he's saying. I see so many people run to the point of attack. And that's how you get knocked over. You're not a physical player that way. You know when you watch a guy run a guy over and he blows people up. And that's what this kid has a mentality of. He's running people over. Thank you, Matthew. Graduated cum laude. A average. Captain of her team. Already working with underprivileged kids. That's what my kid's doing. Actually, I'll take that back. She's working with handicapped kids. He was asked a question about Devin White. Said that he's athletic. You can see his athleticism. Okay. I mean, great to hear him talk. I really love to hear all these guys talking about one another like this. It's really cool. Bond was asked the question about playing on Friday. He goes, I want to play Friday. They haven't told us what they're going to do, but I want to play Friday. I had a green dot on. You know how great that is to get a green dot? I want to play Friday. I want to play. You're kind of getting the sense of what these guys want to play. These defensive guys want to play on Friday. CD goes, Devin White said he was hurt last year. That's not what the Buck coaches said. He could say that shit all he wants. Sounds like more excuses. Some of the shit that came out of Tampa Bay about him. Guy was an excuse machine. You can't exactly say anything negative either, though. You run the risk of turning the whole locker room against you. Okay? Fair enough. What 3 Eagles you want to see the most Friday? Great question, Jack. That's a great question. Micaiah Beckham. Bryce Huff. And Quinyon Mitchell. I'd like to see Nolan Smith, though, too. Seals, those changes to tackling rules are also a huge reason to develop checkdowns. If it gets harder to tackle, you want the ball in playmakers' hands like Barkley, and the flats could be a big addition. Great observation, too. Absolutely. Absolutely true. Yes. I like this guy, Zach Bond. Kind of reminds me of TJ Edwards a little bit. Staying with technique, he said. Vic constantly tells you that. Stay with your technique. Stay with your technique. So true. his versatility at being able to play inside and outside, he says what's giving him an opportunity to get on the football field. 143 likes. Thank you, Prince. You guys are killing it right now. Please continue to hit it, man. Thank you so much. That's a really, really, really outstanding take. And I like Zach Bond. I think he's going to be a pretty good contributor. I'm going to operate under the assumption that White was telling the truth until proven otherwise. You know what, Sam? You're right. If he has a terrible year, I'll be the first to say he was lying through his teeth. Hey, Sam, you want to give him the benefit of the doubt? Sam, here's why, for me, if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, Sam, you're not wrong. Okay? Nobody moves off the 5th pick in the draft. Hey, when's the last time? Let me ask you something, Sam. Well, Prince, let me ask you something, guys. Name me the last time a linebacker was taken in the top 5 in the last 7 years. Name me one linebacker that was taken in the top 5. Can you? One linebacker in the last 7 years taken in the top 5. Inside linebacker. Not edge. The Cleveland kid? What Cleveland kid? Inside linebacker? Top 5? I'm sure there's somebody there. Sills, when two people become disgruntled about business, it can become personal on both sides. Yes. Yep. Here's my point. Okay, here's my point. Look at Jack. Hasn't happened. In the last 7 years, Devin White's the only player drafted in the top 5 in linebackers. Why in the hell would the Tampa Bay Buccaneers move off of a Trayvon Walker was taken in the top 5? He was Devin White. He may have. I know he was a high pick. Why? Okay, so in the last 7 years, there's been 2 linebackers, Trayvon Walker and Devin White. Why in the world would the Bucs move off a 26-year-old player why in the world would they move off a 26-year-old guy if they thought he still had anything left? Think about that. Linebackers aren't drafted in the top 10. You got one of the highest drafted guys in the last decade. And the Bucs said goodbye. And they didn't even trade him. That's why when you say give him the benefit, Todd Bowles is a really great coach. And by the way, Devin White still talks highly of him. Okay? I mean, didn't want to pay him? Dude, you don't want to pay great players? You took him 5th. Here's my point. You want to give him the benefit? That's fine. I don't think you're wrong saying that. But for me, it's been 4 years of incompetence actually up there since his 2nd year in the league. Attitude and not performing. Probably pretty true right to the point. Think about that. Only 2 linebackers in the last 7 years have been taken in the top 5 picks. And Devin White was the only guy that was asked to leave the organization. And he's 26. It's kind of crazy. You want to give him the benefit. Okay. Hey, sometimes new places help you out, man. I'm not saying it doesn't. Seals White needs to prove everyone wrong, but I will say that it couldn't have been easy for the kid to be a linebacker who followed Derek Brooks. Expectations for White in Tampa were big. Well, he got second team All-Pro, and he was the captain on that Super Bowl team. The Honey Badger said in an interview with someone, and said if Vic lets Bond do what Bond does, he will be good if he's used right. It's great hearing that. I like the Honey Badger. Seals, did the trade with the 49ers with Ayuk really happen? No. No. The Real says that White is on a prove-it deal. He is. All right. Let's go to Isaiah Rodgers. I like this kid. I like this kid. I like this kid. Something about him. White was all pro in 2020 and Pro Bowl in 21. And the Bucs let him walk out the building. One of the highest drafted linebackers in the last decade. See ya. Nick, he's all pro. He's on the Pro Bowl in 21 too. And they let him go. No, nothing weird to that? And the Bucs beat the shit out of you in the playoffs. It wasn't like the Bucs sucked. Bucs got a playoff win last year. So why did the Bears let Roquan go? They're going to want to pay those guys. Hey, I'll tell you exactly, Marshall, why they let Roquan go. Because the Ravens gave him $20 million. White got $3 million. You think there's anything different to that? Bears let get this. JM and you, Marshall, I know you don't mean that. There's a difference between being paid $20 million and $3 million. You agree with me on that one, right? 1 year, 3 years, 3 years, $20 million and a signing bonus, making him the highest paid backer in the league. Roquan Smith is the highest paid linebacker in the league. Patriots let Tom Brady go for Mac Jones. Not true. Cam Newton was the quarterback after Brady left. It's Howie's a pimp. Sills, can you ask Harbaugh why Devin Bush has been on 3 different teams, was the 10th pick in 2019? I will. Just let Beckham walk. Is he ass? Dog. We're talking about a linebacker who's got 1 year, $30 million versus a guy who just got a $20 million annual deal for 3 years in Baltimore, making him the highest paid linebacker in pro football. Becton was released by the Jets because he can't stay fucking healthy. Becton being a Jet has nothing to do with his ability. It's got everything to do with his availability. This guy moaned and bitched and cried in Tampa about his money. There's a far difference between Roquan Smith and Micaiah Becton. Devin White moaned about what Prince said, his business dealings with the Bucs. It's why they ran him out of town. You want to give a guy a benefit of the doubt for crying about his contract? Roquan Smith, they get run out of town. He got a $20 million a year deal. That's not being run out of town. Can you run me out of town like that? I'm making the highest paid guy in the world. Okay. You're using, okay, JM says, just playing devil's advocate. No, you're using poor excuses for Devin White. Then explain this one to me. Okay? Why'd you let TJ go? Why'd you run TJ out of town? Over $7 million? Explain to me why you ran TJ Edwards out of town when he had 159 tackles for you his final year. let's use your metric here. The Eagles signed a guy who ran out of town because he was crying about his deal. You never offered Edwards a deal. Now he's the 5th-rated linebacker in pro football. What happened? What happened? Let's use your metric. Now you guys are saying that they overshadowed. Dude, this is the same conversation some of you were having with me about that stupid shit with Rashad Penny last year. I told you he's a bum. Shame. Availability. Damn good talent. You weren't wrong about the talent. He just was never going to play for you. You know what they did last year, the Eagles, when it came to Rashad Penny? They just wanted to make sure Dallas didn't get him. Or somebody like Washington didn't get him and put him in there. If White plays great for us, we have no choice but to extend him. Right. Just like you've extended every linebacker you've ever had under Howie Roseman. Why don't you use what you guys do normally? You devalue that position. If Devin White has a good year, he's not going to pay. Get this. You guys, do you understand that Saquon Barkley was the second choice running back that you were going to sign? They offered DeAndre Swift $6 million to come back to Philly. He said, fuck it. Signed an $8.5 million deal in Chicago. Then you went and got Barkley and gave him the money. Okay? You wanted Swift back. John McMullen reported that. To me, TJ wasn't that great, but he was better than what we had last season. Shit, you haven't been able to replace that guy. And the other guy, Kaiser White. You had 2 guys over 120 tackles. You've yet to even come close to replacing them. And you're right. They're not superstars. But you can't even sign decent players. Let me get to Isaiah Rodgers. We're going to talk Devin White. He spoke. I really like this kid. I really do. He said the competition at CB2, he's not taking anything for granted. He's been told certain things before in the past. He goes, yeah, I may be the leader in the clubhouse right now, but I'm not taking anything for granted. Jalen goes, TJ was an elite. Nobody said he was. He is now. PFF has him the 5th-rated linebacker in pro football. On the best linebacking core in the league, Jalen. Isn't that funny? You guys are talking shit on a guy who other people around the league. And people are saying the Bears now have the best linebacking unit in the league. And it's led by the guy in the middle that you had. He's not elite. Isn't it funny, though? He plays elite. You guys may not think TJ Edwards is elite. He's on the most elite linebacking core. Oh, and by the way, so get this. Twiz goes, PFF the Bible. No. I think he had 168 tackles last year. That's the Bible. I think Edwards had 168 tackles. I think he was 4th in the league in tackles. That's the Bible. Okay, you don't want to use PFF? How about his production? Yeah. Isn't it crazy? You took White off the team. You had pretty much the same secondary. And you took TJ Edwards off the linebacking, and you went to 32nd in defense. You had one of the worst units in the league. You had pretty much the same guys. And the only difference you had was what? Hardgrave, Edwards, and Kaiser White. You went from the second best unit to the shittiest unit in the league. How'd that work? Yeah, Smith's elite. That's why they benched him. Elite. Follow the money, my friends. Money never lies in the NFL. Never lies. They tell you who you are. One guy's making 3, another guy's making 18. That's all you need to know. Your opinions don't matter. Paychecks do. Isaiah Rodgers. Playing against AJ and Devontae, he says, is outstanding. Massive help. Dude, do you know how cool of teammates these two dudes are? AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Working with those young guys on the other side and offering up helpful pointers on how you could be a better ball player. Shit. Invaluable, man. Those guys are really good teammates. I give AJ Brown a lot of shit. He's a heck of a teammate. He's a heck of a teammate, man. Constantly working with people, great attitudes. I mean it. I mean, I'm more and more impressed with AJ every time he opens his mouth. And more importantly, you want to hear something crazy? I'm more impressed. Hey, Senor, do you know what I'm more impressed with AJ Brown? I'm more impressed with AJ Brown on what other people say about you and how others talk about you behind your back. Dude, it's great working with him, man. He helps me out all the time. He'll give me helpful pointers. You know, we'll go back and he'll say something to me. This technique might help you here. I mean, okay, it's just great. Great help. And I love the fact that the young players are listening. Why wouldn't you? How about this, too? He was asked a question by a Philly media guy, and I think it was appropriate. He asked him, he goes, hey, man, I know last year you had a tough year. And when the Colts cut you, what were you thinking? He goes, I was on the couch when I got a call from my agent. And the Eagles said they had traded for me. And he was asked the question, what were you thinking? He goes, had a whole year, man, to think about it. He goes, and the one thing I hated, you could take money away from a player. But when you take the game away, it hurts. I never want to have anything like that happen again. Good. I like this kid. Had a whole year to reflect, he said, on some of the issues he made. His versatility. He goes like this, man, I don't care where they want to play me. Slot, cornerback, dime, nickel, I don't care. I want to play. I got to make up for lost time. I got a daughter to feed. And get this, he's still great friends with the Colts players. Stays in touch with them. Those are his boys. They knew he went through a tough time. This guy looks like a really good teammate that made a stupid decision. Cost him. Hey, man, with this gambling rule and with the way that performance-enhancing drugs are delegated with the NFLPA and the NFL, anybody could slip up. Do you know if you go to the GNC and you buy a supplement, you could automatically be suspended for 6 weeks because guess why? It's not on the NFL's list of supplements to take. I didn't know the NFL was in the supplement business. You see, the NFL has contracts with those supplement companies. You know, they try to tell you that some of these players, and I'm not saying some of the players don't take performance-enhancing drugs, but I remember the defensive tackle from the Vikings took a supplement from the GNC. He thought it was a better supplement. He got suspended 4 games. I didn't know the NFL was in a supplement business. But see, they got these contracts with these pharmaceutical companies. And what they do is they'll suspend a kid because it's not on the list. Well, he didn't really fail a drug test because he was trying to cheat. He failed the drug test because you didn't get a chance to profit off his ass. That's the hypocrisy of that fucking place. Okay? And then when you're betting this NFL betting thing, what's crazy about it is the NFL has the Super Bowl in Vegas. They're partners with FanDuel. They have all these type of things that are set up around when it comes to fantasy football. Player bets on something. That's no cool. That's not cool. Why? Well, the NFL's got to dip their beak first before the players can get any money out of it. It's another hypocrite move. NFL tells players, get this. Are you trying to tell me that NFL coaches don't have more intel on what to do and who's going to get the ball and not get the ball? Or a coach doesn't have more say over rigging a game than a player? A player who plays defensive tackle or wide receiver has very little say in what the game's outcome could be. But a coach could not go for it on fourth down, could not go for it, call a bad play. There's a better chance that a coach could throw a game than a player could throw a game. He's got more control of the game. League doesn't see that, though. They think the players. Oh, you know why they don't want that? Because the guy in Indianapolis could call the guy in Philadelphia going, who's active? Oh, he's not? Put money down on it. That's why they don't want the players calling from the facility at the Colts to the NovaCare Center. Because the guy could just pick the phone up and do this. Hey, man. Hey. Is Devontae Smith active this week? Call him on a Wednesday. No, it looks like he's not going to make it. Go put $100,000 down. Devontae Smith is not in the game when the injury report. You ever notice this too, man? Why is the injury report out? What's that, dude? NFL's the only league that puts the injury report out on a Thursday. I've never seen anything like it. Do it for the gamblers. Part of me thinks the players should be able to bet on their games to win. If they're betting on their teams to lose, specifically players over-unders, they should be banned. Should be enable offense. How about this, Sam? I don't think you should bet on your own team. I think you should bet on other teams. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Yeah, I really like this kid, Isaiah. Isaiah Rodgers wants to play the entire – get this. He said this. I want to play the entire game on Friday. He goes, I want to run out of the tunnel. I want to feel what that feels like. I want to absorb everything. I want to get quality reps. If they want to play me the entire game, I'll play it. Man, I dig that. It's a great attitude. Okay? It's a great attitude. He's like this. No days off for me, man. I don't want any days off. I'm ready to play all the time. This guy's got a high energy button, man. This guy's got a high energy button. He loves what he does. I'm digging this guy, man. I am. No betting in your sport. Bunch of players are friends and get inside info. Unlike coaches, right, Twiz? By the way, coaches aren't banned. Rodgers is like a guy with a second chance at life. He had it taken from him, and he's motivated. Scott, I wish I had 53 guys like that with that attitude. I love that attitude. Okay? I just love that attitude. I really do. All right. So let's get into your boy Devin White, who spoke to the media. A coach can't keep a player from getting his bonus, too. A coach can keep his player from getting his bonus. Absolutely. John Gruden did that to a quarterback, Jeff Garcia, when he was the head coach of the Buccaneers. Last game, he needed to play something like 28 snaps, and the Bucs held him out of it. and denied him his $1 million bonus. Talk about being cheap. Because the Bucs weren't making the playoffs, they didn't want to pay him. That's the shit end of the deal. Here is Devin White. You guys are right. This is a second opportunity for him to have a chance at being a mainstream player. Total scumbag move by Gruden. I said it on, by the way, Matt, I was doing morning drive on WDAE in Tampa. I said that's got to be one of the shittiest moves of all time. And I said it pretty much verbatim like that on the air. Buccaneers called my bosses up. I didn't know that Angelo had the commissioner of the National Football League calling up WIP trying to get him fired like that. I've not ever had the commissioner call me up like that or my bosses up, but I have had owners like Jeffrey. Here's the owners that have tried to take me off the air. Brian Glazer, Bucks, Stephen Ross, Dolphins, and Jeffrey Lurie, Eagles. Okay. Those are people that have called or had minions call my bosses. A boss is here, by the way. He can validate that. These guys don't like the truth. These guys like their truth. That's why when Angelo's like this, we were talking yesterday about this. Angelo goes, Sills, we're dinosaurs. I'm like, no, I don't think telling the truth is a bad thing. And I don't think that's a generational thing. I don't think that's old school or new school. I think that's what makes people different on the radio. Joe Rogan, whether you like him or not, some of these other guys, Hannity and these guys, truth or you don't like it. Most people in the world would rather be lied to. It's easier to tell the lie. It's easier to listen to the lie because it's easier and it's non-confrontational. It's easier. Seals owners want you to kiss their ass. Kyle, I said that unfortunate comment in 2012. I wasn't fired because I said the monkey comment. The Buccaneers were the people that fired me. They said he goes or we go. And iHeart Clear Channel chose me to go. I was never fired over that. There was an apology made by iHeart the next day. Poor language, shouldn't have used that analogy. Buck said, that's not good enough. They called the day after, and I was out. I got a job in 13 days by Joe Bell in Miami with a raise. But that's what happened. I was never fired over that monkey comment. That's a misnomer. Not true. The Bucks fired me. It's not true. I think anytime a coach makes a financial decision when coaching, it should be a fine for the organization. NFL Players Association goes back onto that, and they try to get the kid his money, but the NFLPA is one of the worst and weakest unions in all of American sports. Okay? One of the weakest in all of American sports is the NFL Players Association, which I'm a member of to this day. I really like Isaiah Rodgers. I'm going to get to Devin White here. Does it come out of your mouth, still have a job? Doesn't come out of your Cole probably was a mistake. When you're on the air for 34 years, 35 years, you might say something. Okay? You might say something in 35 years. I was on Morning Drive in Tampa for 18 years with 10 shares. And the Bucks couldn't handle it because I used to say, I don't need your guest. We were the flagship. Joe Krause, who's wonderfully doing our show today, he knows you can't. There's sales reps in the building. Can't talk shit on the team. Those guys' jobs are all required to go out and sell that. They got a number they have to make selling the property that they spend $3 million for every year. Do you understand that? WIP pays the Eagles $3 million a year, 3.5 actually. I know the formula. I helped Gabe Hobbs make this formula. They paid them $3.5 million. Salespeople in the building at IP have to try to double that. In Philly, they probably do. Philly, New York has Odyssey has the Yankees and the Giants. Most of these teams that spend money and organizations and radio stations spend money, they don't make the money back. That's why most of them are dying. IP, FAN, Boston, those places make dough because of the fan base, Philly fan base. But just remember, that's why when you're listening to Howard Eskin or you're listening to WIP, those guys aren't telling you the truth. They got to make a number, dude. This thing starts with sales first. So if you got lunatics like me and Angelo on here, you can't have that. Every sales guy on the planet. What do you think happened to Josh Ennis in Philly? Now, Josh is a dick at times, but why do you think they ran him out? Because everybody in the building hated him. And I actually liked the guy. Got to know how the business works. Unfortunately, my ego got in the way. Sills, having the owner call for your head is an issue, but I think having the head of legal call your wife was Bush League. Still early. Goodell will call. Hey, no, Roland, you're right. They pay for the rights. They got it right. But now that's why guys like Bob Lang have say over the personnel that are on the air. Can't have Angelo Cataldi on the air. Kidding me? Says you got a lot of people watching your show right here in Rocky Mountain, Carolina. Hey, you guys be safe down there, man. That storm's coming up that coastline. Okay? Be safe down there. Okay? Let's do Devin White here. Hey, by the way, giving you why you guys come here every day and why I do my show a certain way. One of the reasons why I tell you why 97.5 or WIP can't actually give you real talk shows. When, I keep bringing up Joe Krause here. Joe Krause was a sales guy there. IP back in the day after Brookshire, I think was a monster. There were legitimate great shows on that thing. The Wing Bowl was special. I've been to a Wing Bowl at the Spectrum. Who hasn't? Legendary. Dude, the first sports talk radio station is not FAN. They like you to believe that up there, but it's not. It's IP. Brookshire owned it, then sold it to CBS. He worked for CBS. All right, let's get to Devin White here. Nichols, I appreciate the honesty from you, although I don't agree with all your opinions. Been watching the show for a while. Eagles and all about the U. Nick, you know what, Nick? This is all I can ask. Nick, that's all I want from you. That you're the quintessential person I love talking to. I don't want you to agree with me all the time. What the hell kind of show would that be? Jesus, I would hate doing that show. A kiss-ass yes show where you have a call screener putting only the people that agree with you on? Forget it. I would never do that. My wife used to produce my show for 20 years. It's true. She produced my show on Fox Sports Radio at Premiere. One of the greatest producers of all time. She would never put Anybody who always agreed with me, she put on once a week. And guys who didn't, she put on twice a week. That's how we've always done it. I got to hand it to Joe and Xander. You know what this is? You know what this is right here? Hiring big sills. That sphincter muscle got to get really. Yeah. Woo! Man, hey, I don't know, man. Thumbtack. Thumbtack, baby. That's a thumbtack. You got to have some couillons to do that, man. That's all 97.5 became. Every host in lockstep. Screen calls. Now they're bringing back Mike Missanelli. It won't change their fate, though. I hope Mike has success. All right. Let's roll it into Devin. He was talking about Zach Bond. And he goes like this. He goes, the guy's relentless. He brings a great energy to the linebacking core. Great dude to be around, works his ass off. I like when other players get asked questions about players they're playing next to. He said Thursday night wasn't my best night, Devin White. I don't think you're the only guy in the building. He goes, the communication with the linebackers, we're working on it. He goes, we're working on communicating. I like it. He was asked a question about Isaiah Rodgers. He goes, I love the kid overcoming an issue. I didn't realize this. Isaiah Rodgers spoke to the team about his problem that he had with gambling and why he was suspended. And Devin said this. He goes, he didn't really have to say that, but he got up in front of the team and told everybody what happened. And everybody had a great affection for him. By the way, this could be a gold mine signed by Howie Roseman. If this guy turns out to be what I think he's going to turn out, and I'll say it one more time to you, I think your starting secondary is going to be Isaiah Rodgers, Reed Blankenship, Gardner Johnson, and Slay. That's what you're going to go to Brazil with. I think those are your three guys. And you're going to go, where's Quinyon? He's going to get reps. They're going to probably play him in nickel or dime. They're going to want him on the field. Okay? Seals, what are you looking for to see Friday versus Baltimore from the backups? Perez, this is a weird game. You're playing them in week 12 and 13. You don't want to go crazy with too much showing of the playbook in this thing. You know what I mean? Now, Baltimore has won 24 consecutive postseason or exhibition games. All I take from that number is Baltimore is going to be ready to play. They prepare their players, great coaching. They're going to be there. Okay? They're going to be there ready to play. I don't know how much pride they take in that number, but I know they take great pride in showing up. I want to see the communication on the defense. You know what? I would put it to you this way. Mr. Perez, I would say this. On Friday, I'd like to see the defensive guys out there more so than I would the offensive guys. I don't think I really need to see that over there. I'd rather have that in controlled scrimmages. I don't want Hurts getting banged up in a meaningless game. I don't want Devontae. I don't want any more of my old linemen getting banged up either. Okay, so, I mean, Scott goes, Harbaugh acts like the preseason is the Super Bowl. Well, he did make the AFC title game. You think there's any coincidence to that? That Baltimore is one of the best franchises in the league? Scott thinks that he takes preseason like it's the Super Bowl. So every time you step on the field, shouldn't you take every game and every practice like it's the Super Bowl? Or your job's on the line? How do you go about your business? Scott, I'm not picking on you. I'm just asking you. Okay. But I mean, I think Harbaugh's trying to set a tone on how he looks at shit. So I don't begrudge the guy for coaching that way. Adam goes, that streak's over. Okay. Vic wants you to play the right way. How about this, what he does? Vic Fangio sends clips to players. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want it to look like. This is what I don't want it to look like. Okay? Feels we're on a roll. Almost 200 likes. Wow. Guys, that's insane great. Holy cow. Thank you, Kyle, for the update. Thank you. Shit, man, we might roll up near 300 today. Gary Cobb will be with us at 4:30. Not sure what the plan is for Friday, he said. I think that's going to be an organizational decision. Hit that like button or you're fired. Maniac. Love it, man. 24 consecutive preseason games. Okay. Here's the last guy. Joe, before I take a timeout, I got to get to the last guy here. Saquon Barkley spoke. Let me start it off with him. I had not really heard him talk ever before. Okay? I had not heard him talk. But my takeaway right out of the gate when he sat there, he's an intellectual, he's an eccentric guy. He reads books all the time about inspirational people that are motivated by certain circumstances that are potentially going on in his life at one time or another. You could tell emotionally he looks for books that fit his timing in his life and where he is. He's reading a book about a boxer who has to come back from adversity on getting up off the ground. He says he's not sure if it's a real character or not, but he thinks it's a fictional character. Anytime that you listen to people talking about books that they read, usually people are motivated by the books because of the emotions that are going on in their particular life at that time. And that's the sign of an intellectual, and it's a sign of a guy who's an eccentric type dude. Okay? I just look at Stevens. Hey, we want Sills and his daughter to play football legally in Australia. You'll be deported if your daughter's a bust. I believe that, man. That's a great place to play rugby down there. It's fictional? Okay. Thank you, Jam. I liked listening to him. He was asked a question about Will Shipley. He said he's another intellectual guy, smart as hell. Always asking questions, reminded him a little bit of himself. And so, like, I guess he got 1450 on his SATs. What does that tell you about Will Shipley? So Will Shipley got 1450 on his SATs, according to Saquon Barkley. So that means that guy gets information and processes that information faster than any running back or maybe any player on the team. This guy's one of the smartest people on your football team. And he processes the information. This is Saquon's words. Okay? And Siger goes like this. Means nothing. Well, there's a reason you practice something 100 times. You know why? Reps and muscle memory. You'd be shocked how many players who played 5-6 years don't remember their plays or their playbook. If you can't line up, you can't play, no matter how talented you are. Look at Zach Bond. Zach Bond's not more talented as an athlete than Devin White, but he's a better player. He's smart, processes the information. I mean, got to know where to line up. Okay? So especially when you're talking about somebody in a complex passing game like Kellen Moore's. I mean, having an intellectual brain to be able to process the stuff that you have to process. There's a reason that quarterbacks are constantly evolving and reading defenses. Why? You're working on, what did Jalen call it? Or no, Devontae call it. What did he call it? Football IQ. It makes no sense to move Rodgers over Slay. Not even in terms of pick compensation. I didn't say that. I said Rodgers and Slay are going to be your starting corners against Green Bay. And I think Blankenship and Gardner Johnson, if healthy, are going to be your free and strong. He loved the fact that there was 50,000 fans out there. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Sam. You gave it a college atmosphere. Dude, I can't tell you how cool that is. I saw the video of the Eagle fans there at Lincoln Financial. Maybe there was 40,000, whatever. Might have felt like 50. Pro stadiums don't do that. They don't do that. You guys are like a college town about your passion for your team. That's shit you see at Alabama at the spring game, the red and white game, where you got 90,000 fans in those buildings. That's stuff you see in the Southeastern Conference or at Michigan or at Ohio State. You don't see that. Penn State would do that too. You don't see that shit in one of these big cities. You might see that in Chicago. Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Boston, Philly, the Bucks, maybe Carolina. Shit like that. Said it was awesome. He says he's getting a ton of reps when it comes to being involved in the pass offense. Barkley said that he loved that Nick Gates was brought in, and he talks about his journey. Loves the guy, and he'll help the Eagles. Not that he has any decisions, but he'll help that offensive line in depth. I don't know really much about Nick Gates, but that's somebody they signed a week ago. He said running out of the Eagle tunnel was weird. He goes, my entire career, I came out of the opposing tunnel. And coming out of that tunnel and hearing the Eagle fans, giving me love versus how the Eagle fans used to, give me grief when I'm coming out of the opposing, tunnel. Yeah, I would think that was weird. You run out of the Eagle tunnel, and all these fans are like, "Yeah, Saquon, how you doing, brother? Yeah." I thought that was a little weird. He said that they're really spreading the ball around and that it's really great what Kellen's trying to do. No question about it. He says our defense, a lot of different looks, a lot of different coverages, and it's a challenge to go out there each and every single day. I like Saquon Barkley. Where he talked, a savant kind of guy. Really smart, man. Eccentric guy, cares about what he's a sensitive guy, it seems. I mean, he likes his teammates. He's got to be very, very hurt not being a Giant. He's got to be exceptionally hurt not being a Giant. And what better way to have a FU moment is to go against one of the great rivalries, Giants and Eagles, and to jam it back in your face. I can't think of anything better. He signed with the Eagles for two reasons: to potentially win a Super Bowl and to see those guys twice a year. He could have went anywhere. You know, once a Giant, always a Giant, that saying. He's a Giant at heart. Like, got to remember something. Guys, don't hold it against him. Remember what your guy Shady McCoy said even when he went to Buffalo? Shady goes, I'm an Eagle. I'm a Philadelphia Eagle. Okay? But he's going to play his ass off for you. He's going to play his ass off. And he's going to want the Giants, man. And more so than anything, see, he's not pissed at the Giants. He's pissed at Joe Schoen. Okay? That's right. Jack, these guys, when they're talking about the SAT, nobody gives a shit about that. I'm talking about processing information and looking at a playbook and being able to take the intel and process it. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing is for sure. Your guy, Nakobe Dean, as smart as he is, that has no bearing in his life. Supposedly. Sills, the issue with White isn't skill or talent. It's personal drive. It's in his head. It looks like he's forgot about the game and focused on the business. Hope he gets his head out of his ass. It's completely the truth. Here's Devin White right here. That's Devin White. That's his last 4 years of his career in a nutshell. Right there. Let me just tell you something. When he's 35, 40 years old, he'll look in the mirror and he'll regret every day that he let this comment that Bob Brown said derail his career. And that's not what I'm saying about, hey, by the way, Slagger, nobody says that Nakobe Dean doesn't know the playbook. I'm talking about processing information. You're taking it like you got to be a Rhodes Scholar. I'm talking about football IQ and processing info. There's a reason you practice 100 plays and the same play 100 times. If that's the case, everybody was so smart, they'd only do it once. He thinks Kenny Gainwell has it all. He can block. He can run. He didn't realize that he finished second in Doak Walker when he was in college. Kenny Gainwell is in a contract. And I'll tell you one thing. If you're going to give a game ball out for people who have performed at a high level, not named Jalen Hurts in the camp so far, Gainwell's going to be in the top 5. He's had a great camp. Just how the Jack used to touch us every time he played us, but as an Eagle at heart. Yep. D-Jack's absolutely another guy. Eagle at heart. Eagle at heart. And by the way, Marshall, what you're saying there, he wanted to jam it at Chip Kelly in the front office's face because they got rid of him over a bullshit ESP article when he was writing for that .com thing. And when you're called a gangster and you tarnish a guy's reputation, Eagles believed it, fired him. That guy still has a gig. Shocking. Okay, shocking. McCaffrey just got hurt his calf. Plenty of time. Now, calf injuries, I've had one. If it's severe, you could be gone for the year. Okay? You could be gone for the year. Hey, so guess what? Listening to these guys talk, I think they're all on the same page, man. I'll tell you this. I feel like they've put 2023 behind them. I completely do. I completely do that. The article was an excuse. Chip wanted him and Shady out because they made him uncomfortable. JM, I don't give a crap what a player makes me feel. He makes me feel like a winner. That's the only emotion I want to feel, JM. The only emotion I want to feel is being a champion. Uncomfortable because I don't like what? I don't care about that shit. What your background is. I care you're a winner. Hey, Forrest, this guy, Anaya Smith, dude, somebody needs to put that guy's face on a milk carton. Was he a third-round pick? Was he a third-round pick? Because that guy has not been heard of or seen in camp so far. You talk about a guy who has had no impact whatsoever. Holy cow. I have not heard that guy's name. He was a fifth? Okay. Okay, well then I guess, but he's a fifth? All right. Then I'm not going to kill the guy, but man, you talk about a guy who's a practice squad candidate. It's him. The kid they got from FSU is going to make the team. He's going to make the ball club. All right, Gary Cobb's going to join us at 4:30 from Fox 29. He's been out there at training camp and been talking to the guys, so we're going to get a bird's eye view from the former Eagle himself. And we're going to talk to him about some of the things that Vic Fangio has been saying about linebackers. 12-plus years in the National Football League playing linebacker, Gary Cobb, of course. So he'll join us at the bottom of the hour. Guys, where are we on the like list right now? I think you guys have been killing it here. It's been a great day so far, man. Thank you, guys. I can't thank you enough, man. Where are we on the like list right now? And maybe we could see if we can get ourselves up to 275, 300 maybe today. Prince really did a great job. All of you have. 201 sales. Man, way to go, Kyle. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Madbird. Man, you guys really killing it. Hit the like button. And we got Gary Cobb at the bottom of the hour. Keep it here. National Football Show.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. That's right. Birds 365 tonight. Special edition, 6 to 8 with Xander and John. John obviously out there at practice, so that'll follow the program. Guys are doing a great job covering the Eagles, and John's been out there pretty much the entire day, so you'll have the latest and updates on what's going on. Loud by Angelo Cataldi, best book on the market. Niners all day. I'll make sure I tell Angelo that. Mr. Perez, 211 likes. Thank you, guys. Please hit the like button. We appreciate it. A couple things before we get Gary Cobb at the bottom of the hour here. I don't like how Vic Fangio's talking about Bryce Huff. Let me give you a quote here. He's getting better. That's how you talk about a high school guy. He's getting better. This project is getting better. Bryce Huff's a project. Hey, plain and simple. Vic Fangio talks about this guy like he is a rookie. Let's go back to with the comments that he made when it was asked the question, can he play the run now? No, he's not there. He's not a 3-down lineman. He struggles a little bit in coverage. Is he ready now? No. Now you just get another quote out of him, and he goes, he's getting better. These are not well-received comments being made about one of your high picks in free agency that you gave $17 million to. And, I mean, the coordinator is telling you that what he's seeing so far is not impressing him. Guess what Yale just said? Look at this here. There's a learning curve? For what? Playing the run? Tackling? Pass coverage? That's like you talk about a rookie. I would talk about Jalen Hurts like that, not about a 5-year pro. I mean, and he gave him the money. I don't feel this. Hey, this guy gets around the horn. What a good-looking pickup. Tell you this. I hear a lot of great things about Isaiah Rodgers. That guy missed football last year. Get this. He said the system is different from Robert Saleh's. Then why the fuck did you trade for him? Or excuse me, you didn't. Why'd you sign him? It's different. Isaiah Rodgers didn't play football, and he was on a different team 2 years ago. He's picking it up. Dude, you guys can make all the excuses you want. He can't tackle. He struggles in coverage. And he can't play the run, but he's getting better. That's your guy? And here's the better one. Here's the better one. I haven't heard him. I haven't heard anything. I've heard more about Jalen Hurts than him, or even Nolan Smith from him. All I'm doing, going off the words of Vic Fangio, not my opinion. Vic hasn't said one positive thing unless it's this. He's getting better. What other positive thing? Hey, I think he'll get there. That's not confirmation he's good. He can set the edge? Doubtful. How can you set the edge? Here, look at this. Crowley says he can set the edge. He can't tackle, and he can't cover. But he's setting the edge. What? In what world? What do you think? Like the Jetsons? Hey, James. Right. The coordinator said it. The coordinator said it. Hey, one thing is for sure about Vic Fangio. He is saying this. Hey, we got not very good linebackers, and this guy Huff is a work in progress. Hey, I don't know about you. Where's the so-called Super Bowl championship defense you got? You're prized. And Gardner Johnson went in for an MRI. Huff doesn't look like he's ready yet. And your linebackers suck. This is all from your coordinator. Hey, you know what? I'm good. You know what I'm good. You know what I'm going to assume? Hey, yeah. Look at this. Hold on here. Let me get Yale. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna assume, Yale? I'm gonna assume that he's just being overcritical. Because I've never heard anybody talk like this. So I'm gonna assume he's going over the top. Because I've never heard a coordinator call out to his entire football team. I mean, I'm going to, and you know me, guys, Scott, I'm not going to sit here and go like this. I'm not going to go, hey, you hear what that can't be all true. That this can't be true. Okay? Let's see here. This 2024 defense is better on paper than 23. Can assume this 24 offense is better than 22. How can you assume that? You don't know that. I mean, how can you assume that? Your 22 defense is better than 23? How do you know that? You have no idea what you're talking about. What, because you drafted a couple guys out of Toledo? You can't say that. So, Lake, wait a minute. Get this. Forrest thinks your offense is better without Jason Kelce in it. Okay. Let me ask you one question. If you had to go into a football game and you had to pick between having one or the other guy on the field, who would you take? Having Jason Kelce back playing center for you or Saquon Barkley? Who would you take? I got to tell you something. We had Angelo Cataldi on with us yesterday, and I don't know. Gary Cobb has been used to old school, hardcore coaches like this guy. Some of them coaches he had at SC and in the NFL, I mean, hey, they tell you you're good, you suck, that's no good. get the next guy in. That's how he was coached. Because I know those type of players and I know those type of coaches. And when you hear Vic Fangio saying this, our linebackers aren't very good. And you have to have good interior linebacker play if you want to have a good defense. When you're hearing a guy say this about Bryce Huff, hey, man, he can't tackle, he can't cover, he's a work in progress, and he's getting better. You're like, excuse me? You spent $18 million on that. I'll tell you this, and I'm going to assume, because Gary's been out there, that Vic's going over the top, or maybe he's just being honest. Let's go to a guy, Fox 29, played the position 12-plus years. Our friend Gary Cobb. Boy, I'll tell you something, man. When they hired this guy, Vic Fangio, Gary, dude, they got the guy, man, because he's going to put you on blast. It's like Mike Tomlin kind of stuff, man. I mean, what's your takeaway so far with what you've seen for 2 weeks going on out there?
Well, most of the he's just telling the truth. He's telling what he's seen. And, guys are learning the defense. And, some of the guys, you're asking to do things that they never did before, see. So with Huff, come on. Huff's been playing part-time. He's come in as a pass rusher. And, he's not the best pass rusher either. I'm looking at him. He's not dominating anybody. Of course, he's not used to going against Lane Johnson every day.
And Jordan Mailata.
And Jordan Mailata. So you got two outstanding tackles. So unless you're going with the twos against the twos, but a lot of times when they get to a certain period, hey, they want one against one. Hey, get up here. Get some of this here. So he's got to go against the best guys. And, he's been getting blocked by those guys. And he's still learning the defense too, because sometimes he's dropping. He's not just rushing the passer all the time. And so he's got to learn that part of it. And, this is a challenge, and I could see where all the guys, it's, it's hot, but come on. I can't cry for those guys. They only practice one time. Okay. They're not doing double days. And really what has happened is he's really just calling things as he is. Now some of this is pushing guys where maybe they had a practice where they just kind of went through the motions or whatever. So he's identifying that. But for the most part, he's just telling what he's seen. And what he's doing, he's the kind of guy who he knows this is going to get back to the guy. But it's motivation. Come on, pick it up, And so that's some of it. But for the most part, he's just calling it like it is because some of these guys have never had a situation like this where they're going against the quality on the other side on this level.
Hold on, Gary.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that in today's NFL camp and over at NovaCare, they don't have two-a-days?
No, you can't do two-a-days. Come on.
Training camp has no week of two-a-days?
That's illegal. Cannot do two-a-days.
How can you get better?
You can only have one practice a day.
I thought there was a week you had two-a-days.
No two-a-days. You cannot do two-a-days. Now, they could do, maybe they go out and show them some plays. They can't be putting on anything. One practice. One practice a day. You cannot practice 2 times a day. That's the way it is. Now, they have them in the rooms where they're going through the mental part of it and everything. But they're out there one time. I was over there today. Come on. Those guys shut me up. Even time some of the guys, that I know, some of the guys been there. Hey, God, hey, man, we're done, man. What are you doing? They're going to mess with me, Hey, whatever, like if I'm getting over there a little late, Cobb, man, we're done, man. You missed it, So they only one practice, man. That's an NFL rule.
That's crazy. That is absolute craziness to it. Let me ask you this, Gary.
And I'll tell you this too. If a guy can tell his coach, look, if you try to practice this 2 times, I'm telling you, man.
$300,000 fine.
At least $1 million.
Yeah.
They're gonna find the team. That's exactly what they're gonna do.
How about this?
Yeah.
Do you now think after I'm with you, man, too, and this kid Huff. Dude, it's been 2 weeks. I had not heard his name. You think they are now looking at this as it was maybe a strategical mistake to let Reddick go?
I think that, Fangio, I mean, he already, kind of let it know that he wasn't in favor of this, and he really, I got to give it to him. He does talk. And because he says, hey, I was doing this, I was doing that. I mean, he just comes out and says it, So he was not in favor of this.
How about this one too, Gary, when you're listening to him talk?
Yeah.
I heard this yesterday when he addressed the media. You were probably there when he did this, but someone asked him a question. He goes, yeah, I'm up in the booth by myself. All the assistant coaches are on the sidelines.
Yep.
And someone asked him why. He goes, well, I don't want anyone telling me what they saw. I'm going to be up here, and I'm going to make the decision on what I see.
That's
and
right.
I'll convey the messages that I want to the players. And
Yep.
I went like this. Holy shit. This
Yep.
guy's a head rooster, and there's only one rooster in the building.
Hey.
And that dude's going to let you know he ain't listening to anybody give him intel. I mean, what do you make of the guy and the way he's coaching this team and the impact that you think he has on this team? I think it's a positive.
I definitely think it's a positive because, it's, this is throwback type football. This is the coach, old style coach. But if you want to be good, you want the guy to tell you, hey, look, you got to do that better than that. You got to be better at that. Well, you want him to lie to you and pat you on the head? The guys that like that kind of stuff are soft guys, and they're not champions. They're not going to win anything with the coach patting you on the back and everything. And then you go out and you see your legitimate players, they're going to whoop your behind. So I think this is probably something that all these guys aren't used to. They're not used to this type of blunt type of conversations like that. But I think it's putting fire up on them too, to know, look, man, you got to step it up. And so I think it's good. And the thing about it is, you see, he's not out there guessing. He knows what he wants. I like some of the designs and things he does. I'm saying, now that's the way to do it. You can see the way he teaches these guys. And if you do it the way he wants it, you're going to be a better player. The guy hasn't been around the game all this time and had the success he's had, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. So he knows what he's talking about. He is blunt, even though, really, come on, our coaches were worse.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that, meaning like they weren't going to say the stuff all in front of the camera. But when they got you in the back, they're going to cuss you out. They're going to tell you, blop, blop, in so many words, that this is horrible. You cannot play. Here, run that back. Such and such. You're not going to make this team doing that. And if you do make the team, you're not going to be able to play like this. And they're going to be honest with you. They got to, because their jobs are on the line. So you got to get production. So they're going to be playing with you. And really, if you want to be a good player, you appreciate it. You want the coach, because you want to be ready when you're walking down there to the field. You want to be ready. You want the coach that gets me ready. I don't need nobody holding my hand. I'm a grown man. Tell me the truth. I want you ready so we can win, And so that's what he's doing. And I think that it's sobering. And he's at a point in his career. What are you going to do to him?
Nothing.
Yeah.
No. He's pretty much been around the room and around the track. He knows what's going on. But Gary, man, I mean, if you're a guy like him and you were there at that scrimmage last week, I mean, are you more concerned now? They got ran over. There were gaping holes. You didn't even have Landon in, and you didn't have Tyler Steen in. And these guys were blowing holes up. The linebacking core was atrocious. Even the D tackles were getting knocked off the football. I mean, did you have more concern right now about that defense today than you did going into that scrimmage on Thursday?
Well, I can't say that I didn't expect some of this. I expected this group to be behind the offense.
Kenny Gainwell looked like Walter Payton last week.
No. But, some of this I expected. They got a better offense than they have defense. They've got more veteran players offensively. When you go out there and you see, their offensive line comes up to the line of scrimmage, you're looking at, a group of Pro Bowl players on the offensive line, and they've been playing together. you only got one guy in there where you really kind of got a question mark, is at the right guard spot. Other than that, you got guys that have done it. In fact, have dominated other good defenses. So you expect them to have an advantage. But the thing you want to see, and I think I'm starting to see, I will commend Carter and Davis have been playing. Davis shown me more stamina. He's been playing better. He's been more consistent. So I like the way that's going. So
good.
Now, can I say I've seen a lot with everybody else, like you mentioned about the linebackers? You see, they'll make a play, then they'll get beat. They'll make a play, then they get beat. So you need to see more consistency. But with White, you see that I see good things out of him. With the kid Bohm, I see him pretty good. Everybody else, they're more up and down, where you don't see the consistency, and that's the issue.
Make me feel better about Devin White, because I don't. I just don't see it, Gary. I mean, here's a guy, I asked this question. Listen to this. In the last 10 years, there's only been 2 linebackers drafted in the top 5 picks. He's one of them. And the Bucs let him walk out the building, and he's 26.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And here he is. I mean, make me feel better about him.
Well, I have to say, now he's a good athlete. I mean, he can run. He's quick. He can cover. You're not going to be like the Eagles running some deep routes to Barkley with him. He can run. He's running with Barkley, so he can run. And the thing he is he's you can't say he's not that big. I mean, he was saying, I heard him saying he weighed 235. I don't know that I see 235 there, but he's got speed. He is smart. He knows the game. The thing that he's got to make sure he's doing is he's tackling, even though they haven't been doing a lot of tackling.
Yep. To be fair, no tackling. And to your point, Gary, this guy covered in the NFC South when he was down there. I mean, playing down there with the Bucs, you're covering McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara.
I know.
I mean, you're covering some folks out of the backfield, so he has to have some skill set for that.
He has the ability to do that. The thing you wonder about is that, though, people are going to try to run right at him. They're going to try to run up that gut.
Yeah.
And, you got to load. You got some big boys there in front of him. And he just got to be smart about it. If he needs to have these guys moving in order to keep the offense, where they can't just line up and try to pound the ball at him, that's the thing. Because when I see him, I'm going like, I think I could put one of these 330-pounders on him, running right at him, see? So that's the thing you're concerned about. But I think that, right now, I tell you the thing is, he's hungry. You can see the way he came in. He took over the defense right away. The guy knows what he's doing. But I imagine there's some times down where, you're not playing where you show up and you realize your career is on the line. He knows his career is on the line. Now, he could go on, if he has a good year, he could go on and sign a deal with somebody and for some ridiculous sum, or he could be cut and he's gone. So he knows what's on the line. So he's been very serious. The time he got here, he's been very serious about what he's doing. He's talking to the guys, and that's the thing you like, is he's talking to everybody on the defense. You hear him yelling. You see him talking to these guys, which is what you got to do, and you got to get everybody talking. So guys are communicating. So when it comes to smarts, he's got them. He's been through this before. The thing is, I think he needed a fire up on his butt. Well, he's got it, because if he don't step up, he's not playing well. Hey, where's he going to go after this? Where you going to go play in the Australian League or something?
Yep. I'm with you, Gary. Do you think that they're trending for this starting lineup in the secondary? Against the Packers, Isaiah Rodgers at CB2, Blankenship at safety. The other safety would be Gardner Johnson, and the other corner will be Slay. You think that's how it's looking right now? Because I was listening to Isaiah Rodgers today, and it seems that he's a leader in the clubhouse. That could change right now. And one thing that's definitely different than our time, Gary, no hip drop tackle today. I don't know how physical you have to be back there. Keely Ringo's more of a physical guy. Yeah. But at the end of the day here, I mean, you're talking about getting guys on the ground now, and that's kind of what plays right into, I think, the skill set of Isaiah Rodgers more. Do you see that evolving into where I just named those 4 guys?
Now, yes, those are the guys that are lining up out there.
With
And
Mitchell getting playing time, maybe dime or nickel.
What's that now?
With Mitchell getting time, either dime or nickel.
That's right. That's who's been out there, and that's seems like what they're ready to go with. I think the other guys are going to get shots. As I heard Kellen Ringo, him talking today, and he's been doing a good job. So they have depth at those positions. At least it looks like they do. I shouldn't just jump ahead because a lot of these kids, till somebody's done it, you really can't say you're so sure they can do the job and play at a high level throughout an entire season and be consistent and everything. So that we're going to find out. I saw them out there working the young kid, DeJean, to get him back. They're trying
Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean. They're trying to get him out there as soon as they can because they know how important this would have been for him to getting those reps and things. So these kids, they got talent. They can run and everything. Are they going to be able to play and tackle and all that? We're going to have to find all that out because they're really not doing that out here. This is touch football. When it comes to they haven't been doing any, when it comes to tackling people to the ground, they're not doing any of that. Maybe they're going to do that when they go up against New England, maybe next week or something.
So
they're going up there next week.
A couple, organized team practices, like you said. Then Friday, obviously, is the Ravens here.
Yeah.
When you're hearing comments like this about Gardner Johnson today went in for an MRI. Does that expedite maybe the conversation about a Justin Simmons? And Gary, I throw Justin Simmons' name out because obviously he's familiar with Vic Fangio. And if your linebacking core is so suspect, I mean, one thing you can't have is that if your defensive line is giving it up and your linebackers can't make tackles, the only thing those running backs are going to hit their head on are the goalpost. So don't you want to have reliability and don't you want to have some consistency back there with guys who make plays? I mean, you're talking about Cooper DeJean being hurt. You're also talking about playing Bradbury out of position back there. And now you've got Gardner Johnson going in for an MRI who came off a year where he only played 1 regular season game. Are you concerned back there a little bit about the depth and the health of some of the players you've got to lean on?
Without a doubt. I know, I was out there today and I could see that, DJ, he wasn't practicing. He's out there in his shorts. And, I'm talking him out there with the Fox guy and telling him, hey, look, man, why these guys don't practice? I mean, everybody's out all the time, practice a day, take 2 days off, I saw guys do that when you're out there for 5 weeks, but it's just, I don't know what his injury is. I don't know how serious that is. If they are, looking at it, under the scope, that isn't good. I mean, one of the things I see, like he went through a year last year where he didn't play.
Played 1 game for the Lions.
I mean, that's really frustrating because I saw what's his name, 80, the third receiver. What's his name?
Paris Campbell.
Paris Campbell. He's standing over there in his shorts. Well, man, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why do these guys they take off so much? I mean, it's this, it's that. I'm trying to find. Well, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with this guy? I mean, you got to be able to put some tape on the thing and get back out there, man. You got to be able to play through some things, and that's really frustrating. That's the kind of thing I really wasn't happy out there today in seeing. That all these guys. I mean, look, you got to be able to rely on you to be out there. You got to play through some stuff, but I guess it's just today's player, man. I don't understand, man.
I got it, Gary. Couple last questions for you here. How much of the starters and should the starters play on Friday? What do you want to see? Because you and me, just common sense. New coordinators, a lot of new faces on defense.
Yep.
You've got new check down kind of offense on the other side of the ball when we're talking screen offense to the running backs. It seems to be a major priority for them. I mean,
yes.
What do you want them to do? And what would you think would be appropriate on Friday when it comes to what players play on Friday?
Well, at some point this year, preseason, whether, and I don't think it's this week, maybe the next week, where you got to have these guys go out there for at least a quarter where they got to play. Maybe, end up playing a half, but you want to see go out and play and be sharp, where you go through all of the points of the game where the guys that are, let's say, receivers able to catch a ball, get tackled, where running back gets tackled, gets hit, where he's carrying the ball, gets tackled, where you play the game a little bit, where maybe the offense gets a chance to drive, the defense gets out there and gets a few chances to, stop the other team. They're not going to show everything, just like you're not going to show everything. But you want to give the players to get nervous a little bit. How the way you do before a game, you get everything taped up and everything, and you get out there and you hit somebody with a different jersey, so you get used to just playing a little bit. That's the thing that I would say at some point you need to do that.
Two last questions. Jalen Hurts. There's people out there keeping statistics on INTs and such, but I know that you and me, it's the stupidest shit going. But there is something to this point. Don't you agree that the number one priority that probably Hurts has, or one of his top 3 priorities, has been protecting the football? I mean, the one thing that he had a year ago, which obviously was a demise to his offense a year ago, was the turnovers and what happened to that.
Right.
Doesn't it seem like they've made a major priority, and one of the top 3 things that they're doing this camp is to make sure that the ball doesn't hit the ground? I'm hearing the ball hasn't hit the ground a ton, and he's made a couple errant throws, but not a lot. He's been really effective and efficient in being able to read the offenses that Kellen's doing. It's a far cry from the OTAs and minicamp.
Yeah.
But that looks like it's been a priority.
I think so, and you can see that there was a priority on him. 1, 2, 3, getting that ball out. He starts out practice. It's 1, 2, 3, and the ball is out. That he's willing to take that short throw. I'm going to take what these guys give me. So that starting out a game, and that was kind of, and I don't want to be just start throwing, big names out there, but I know some of the best quarterbacks that I played against, they would get into a rhythm on you. 1, 2, 3, and that ball is out. And that seems like that's what they're doing, knowing that, look, if we take this, later in this game, we're going to be able to take this because they're not going to keep giving us this, because we're going to hit Barkley on the move because we're going to give him that ball quickly. And with Barkley, I tell you, you got your work cut out for you. If you got to tackle him where you're dropping as fast as he is and as big as he is, to be able to just tackle him without him falling at least for a total of 7 yards or so. See, so you're going to be able to get good yardage, but you also eventually, that defense is going to have to try to clamp on that to take that away. And that's going to open up everything downfield. And it just seems like that's the whole mentality. Take the short stuff initially. Let's get the ball out of your hands. We don't want to be just holding on to the ball. We're putting them in a situation where they can't cover everybody. If they try to take these short guys, then the guys in back of them are going to be open. So you're going to be able to throw the ball downfield a little bit more. But you can see that he knows who he's reading. They got guys in motion. They do a lot of shifting. They also give you this look, and then the guy's going to go over to the other side, then come in motion back. They're going to make a defense show what they're in, because once the guy goes in motion eventually, they're going to know, are you in zone or man-to-man? You got to show, because nobody's going with the guy. You know that it's a zone. They're in a zone. So they do that so that Jalen knows what defense you're in, and then he knows where he's going to attack. He knows he's got 2 or 3 guys, and which side of the defense he's probably going to end up throwing the ball, and then he gets rid of it. And obviously they coached him on that, which is he's getting the ball out of his hands, and then as the game goes on, he knows that other things are going to open up further downfield. But initially, he's going to take what you give him. That's the way.
Finally, do you believe that the third wide receiver is on this team, or is the third wide receiver that's on this team now Barkley?
Well, you said you say Barkley.
Do you think the third wide receiver is on this team now, or will they substitute that with Saquon Barkley being the third option?
No, now Barkley is going to want to be one of the options, but I tell you, they have really been playing the tall kid, the rookie,
the Wilson kid.
They've been playing him, and they've been throwing the ball to him.
Huh?
Yes, out there today. He was
in the red zone or in the middle of the field, 20-20.
It really was the third guy all the entire practice.
Wow.
Yeah, he was the third guy.
So he's moving up, in your opinion. You know
Well,
what? Gary, I think that's significant. Gary, that's got to be significant because that's Nick's forte. He was a wide receiver coach, so if he sees something in that, that's something. I mean, this guy developed Keenan Allen, and this guy knows. One thing you could say, man. I mean, look at what Devontae and all these guys. I mean, that's saying a lot that they've elevated them.
Well, I'll tell you the one thing. Definitely, the kid can go up and get the ball out of the air.
I mean,
he's 6'6", 6'7", long arms. He goes up and gets the ball. I mean, and they've been doing what they've been throwing the ball to him down there in the red zone. He goes 1-on-1, and he just throws it up there for him. He goes up and gets it. So, and then a lot of times, even when you're throwing the ball to him, he's got an advantage because he's so tall that he's still kind of open, even when he's covered. So they have been working him in there. They had him in there a lot because, the other guys, if a guy's over there where he's hurt all the time, then, he's in there taking the reps. So I'm going like, I don't know, I don't know what it is. I mean, these guys are pros. Like, dude, you're fighting for a position. What are you? I'm going like, I don't see no injury. I don't see nothing wrapped up or nothing. What's wrong?
Can't be on a milk carton. Can't be on a milk carton.
I don't get it, man. Some of these guys, I just don't get it. But he got all the reps today. He was the third guy.
Wow.
Throughout the entire practice, right? And they were doing a lot of red zone. They were doing a lot of situational, plays and things. But he was out there.
So he was in the slot?
Time. What's that?
He was in the slot?
Well, he was different. He was lined up all over.
Okay.
He was in the slot. He's outside. Times he's they got trips where he's on the strong side with the other receivers. Then he's on the backside with the tight end. So they had him lined up all over the place, and he was getting the reps at the number one. So,
is that the first time all camp they've done that?
No. I mean, they have been working him in other times too, where, like I said, red zone, they like running plays for him where when he's one-on-one on the backside, they're throwing, for him to go up and get it. In the red zone, they've been working that in because he started doing it. Initially, he was catching balls over guys' heads. So now they see where very tough to stop him without getting a pass interference penalty. The guy's 6'6" with long arms down to his ankles. he can go up and get it, man. He'd be very good at that. And it's going to be very difficult. So I think you're going to see some of that during the season because, you can see it's tough. I mean, without the guy getting pass interference, I mean, what is he going to do? It's like he's climbing a tree, man.
It's like Carol Carmichael out there.
That's what it's like. And he's got the long arms, and he's been doing a good job of going up and getting it. And you see that Jalen has confidence in him because even I could see where sometimes where it looked like pretty much everybody was covered. He sees he's over there on a little guy. He's throwing the ball to him.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's really great insight there that Johnny Wilson, I believe the FSU kid,
yep.
I think this guy's getting he's getting elevated, man. And so you may see
right
him
now
take that Paris Campbell job.
You know what? Paris is over there, in the shorts. He might wind up in the shorts. He keeps on.
Yeah. I got you. Gary Cobb giving us the insight live from NovaCare there, man. I appreciate it very much. Should be interesting on Friday to see what they do. Not yet told the players. I heard them talking today what their game strategy is going to be and who plays and who doesn't play. Should be interesting. But, Gary,
yep.
Thank you, my friend.
Hey, have a good one.
You got it. Gary Cobb, Fox 29. Make sure you check him out. Covers the Birds there for you, too. How about that, man? So Johnny Wilson is getting love from Jalen Hurts and from Nick Sirianni and from Kellen Moore. That tells you a little bit here. Seals can always count on an FSU guy. Scott, why? Scott, why? Why would you go there, Scott? Seals, check out Devin White on the Pivot. Insightful interview. I will, man. Worth the watch. I will. Gary Evans. Hey, one thing for sure. Gary's right. This guy's in potentially last chance here. Hey, Jack, I thought Gary gave us a lot of insight there. I didn't know that Johnny Wilson was getting moved and him getting more reps. That's the key. Remember when you hear this. Depth charts don't matter. Practice reps matter more. Who is ever getting more game film and more game tape? Those are the players that the coaches have an eyeball on and that are preparing them for the upcoming season. It's all about the amount of reps. You got a guy on the sideline and he's not getting any reps. They're not preparing him. Every single and now that you don't have 2-a-days, I thought they had at least an early morning walkthrough. I didn't even realize there was none of that. You know, there's none of that. Okay, fine. So that you have limited practice. When you are out there and you've got game tape like that, and you're getting the reps, those are the people they're preparing. Love it, Sills. Keep it going. How you doing, Ruiz? Look at people rolling back into the program. Why is that? Because it's football season. That's why. White said after his dad passed, he went to Germany to play. He wanted the same energy from the Bucks, and they didn't. Hey, Chips, then you allowed the business of the NFL to destroy your career. You got to overcome that shit. Or you'll be walking a waiver wire like he was. Always remember something, my friend. Okay? Always remember this. The NFL doesn't need you, and we'll move on without you. 227 likes, man. Let's see if we can get that bad puppy over 275. I appreciate that. Big Sills, a super chat. No, I read it. I put it up there. Sills, can you ask Clint Hurt what position Eagles are targeting? I do every day. Sometimes he tells me, sometimes he doesn't. Johnny Wilson is okay. And then you see what he can do in between the 20s. Me too, Crowley. That's kind of where I'm at too. It's one thing to be throwing pitch and catch inside the NovaCare Center walls. It's another thing. Okay. What do you think if the Eagles trade for Max Crosby? Crowley said it first. What do you think if the Eagles trade for Max Crosby? Well, let's do this, Jason. That would automatically be, let's just do a Brian Burns deal. It would be a 2 and a 5. Okay, it'd be a 2 and a 5 and $20 million. He's 26 years old. But here, JM goes, it's not happening. See, with JM, let me put this. He goes, it's impossible. It's not impossible. They got $27.7 million. And the Raiders have shown you one thing. They've moved off of Amari Cooper. They've moved off of Khalil Mack. They've moved off of them dudes. Okay? They've moved off them guys before in the past. All right. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Don't forget, we got a special Birds 365 right after the program. John's going to give you the latest on what's going on. By the way, there's conversation out there that, according to John Clark, that Gardner Johnson had an MRI today. Actually had it right after that press conference he had. So hopefully we can get a little bit of insight into that. John Clark reported MRI. So that's not a good sign, too. Does that expedite the Justin Simmons deal? So special edition, Xander and John. So make sure you do that. Hey, guys, please hit the like button. Power Hour coming up. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES. Eagles.
First official depth chart has been released. We have that for you. We'll give that to you here in a minute. Couple NFL notes here. PFF has come out with the top D coordinators in the National Football League. And boy, I'll tell you what, PFF loves your coordinators. They ranked Kellen Moore 4th a couple weeks ago when they're talking offense. By the way, guys, please hit the like button. We're going to give you the latest and give you our thoughts on the latest with the first depth chart that's been released for training camp for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay? Hey, Ruiz, that's what John Clark is reporting on Gardner Johnson with the MRI. So here are your top coordinators according to Pro Football Focus. Number 1, Steve Spagnuolo, Kansas City. Number 2, Vic Fangio, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 3, Jim Schwartz, Cleveland Browns. Number 4, Brian Flores, Minnesota Vikings. Number 5, Lou Anarumo, Cincinnati. Number 6, Ejiro Evero, Carolina. Number 7, Gus Bradley, Seattle. Number 8, Mike Zimmer, Cowboys. Number 9, Patrick Graham, Raiders. And number 10, Terrell Austin, Steelers. Vic Fangio's number 2. Wow. That tells you a lot, man. Guy's got great respect around the league with people. And you know what? That just shows you how that thing in Miami, even though Vic Fangio is thought of as the number 2 best coordinator in the National Football League, he's behind a guy that's got 4 Super Bowl rings. By the way, Gus Bradley's got a Super Bowl ring. Mike Zimmer's got a Super Bowl ring. Jim Schwartz has a Super Bowl ring. That shows you what they think of him. Pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive, to say the least. And what people around the league are saying. There are numerous head coaches that say Vic's defense is the most difficult to game plan against. You know, one thing is for sure, one of the things that you have to really take a look at is you've got to take a look at the people that are down in Miami right now. Just a completely different culture. Okay? Just a complete different culture. Dan Sileo, you might be right. We are truly a big question mark. On defense, give it a chance. By the way, I never at any time really was trying to give you guys the impression that defense. Hey, you know what's crazy? Ruiz, every single thing that I said this offseason, Vic Fangio has corroborated. Every single thing I've said. Hey, guys, where are we in the like list? Love to see where we are in the like number right now. Everything I said, everything has come to fruition. Bryce Huff, massive question mark. Gardner Johnson's health, massive question mark. Okay? 238. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kyle. See if we can get over 250. All right. Here's your first depth chart for the Eagles. I don't know why they don't look at Isaiah Simmons type. They can go from safety to linebacker. Okay. I like that, Surgical. Here are the starters and the backups. Wide receiver 1, A.J. Brown. Behind him, Johnny Wilson, FSU kid. He's number 2. Left tackle, Jordan Mailata. His backup, Fred Johnson. Left guard, Landon Dickerson. Trevor Keegan is his backup. Center, Cam Jurgens. Matt Hennessy, number 2. Right guard, Tyler Steen. Howie Roseman move. Micaiah Becton, number 2. Right tackle, Lane Johnson. Darian Kennard. Tight end, Dallas Goedert. Grant Calcaterra, backup. Wide receiver 2, Devontae Smith. John Ross is in the 2-hole. Wide receiver 3, Paris Campbell. Britton Covey is his backup. Running back, Saquon Barkley. Kenny Gainwell. QB1, Hurts. QB2, Kenny Pickett. Here's the defense now. This is exactly what I showed you the other day that they were going to do. They were going to have 2 rush ends and play 3 interior guys. They've changed their schema from the spring, and it makes more sense because it protects these edge guys, because I don't believe they're very good edge setters. And I think they'll struggle with setting the edge. This is smart in what they're doing here. Okay? It's smart. Edge 1, Bryce Huff. Brandon Graham backing him up. They're playing 3 defensive tackles. More so Carter over the nose. Jordan Davis. Marlon how do you say his name? Tulolatu is his backup. Jalen Carter, DT. Thomas Booker, DT. Milton Williams. Moro Ajomo. This is what they're doing. I'm going to show you here. That's what your front's going to look like up top. This right here. That's what your front is. 3 DTs and an edge. Protects your backers. And a poor linebacker. The only reason they're doing that is because Vic knows you don't have good linebacker play. Okay? Yeah. Like a 52. Josh Sweat's your other edge. Makes sense. Huff and Sweat are your edges. Got to be. Josh Sweat, going to be your strong side edge. Huff, weak side edge. Then the interior guys. That's not awful. Okay? That's not awful. Okay? It's not awful. What's his name says technically a 34. Not really. Because you're lining the edges up over the tackles, outside edge. And you're lining your 2 defensive tackles up in 3 techniques. And you're putting your nose on a 0 technique. So it's not technically a 34. 34s are lined up where you have your 2 defensive tackles lined up over the tackles. Your edge guys are going to be on the outside shade of your offensive tackles. That's a kind of a 43 look, if anything. Okay? So anytime you have guys in 3 techniques, it's not a 43 or a 34, I mean. Okay? Because you're going to line Huff and Sweat up over the tackles, outside shade, which is kind of more of a 6 to 7 technique. Here, I'll show it to you. How you guys, how you look at it. Here, center, guard, tackle. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is a 0 technique. This is a 1 technique. This is a 2 technique. This is a 3 technique. 1, 2, 3. 0 technique is line up, head up over the center. 1 technique is lined up either in the shade or here on the guard's inside shoulder. 2's head up. That's a 2 technique. That's a 3 technique lining up on outside shade. Okay, there's a difference here between schemes. The 34 defense, you're more in a 2 technique lined up over this. This is what Patricia had you do last year. The 2 tackles would line up over the guards and play 2 technique. Okay, which basically meant you were just a run stopper. And they put you in that style. Again, remember, 0 is over the center. It's a 0 technique. 1 inside shade or slant 1 over here, you off the center. but 1 is inside shoulder, 2 is head up, 3 is outside shade. And when you're outside, this is 4, 5, and 6, and wide 7. When you're a tackle, 4 inside shade, 5 technique is head up, 6 is outside shade, 7 is wider, wide 9s. That's where your Huff and Sweat are going to be lined up. They're going to be lined up more in 7 and 9s. So it's not an awful idea. That's a great question right here. Right here. So what is Vic trying to do? Black Leo. Let me make sure there's 2 backers in the middle here. Yeah, White and Bond are your 2 inside linebackers. I'm going to show you exactly what they're trying to do. Here. Center. Guard. Tackle. Boom, 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 boom. Sweat. Carter. Davis. Williams. Huff. Behind, here and here. Okay. Here's Bond, and here's White. This is kind of the setup here. Okay? There's your setup going across your line facing them. Here's what you're trying to, and here's what he's trying to accomplish. You see these linebackers here? He wants these guys to have a scrape lane where they're not impeded at all going down the line of scrimmage. This line of scrimmage is 3 yards deep. You want to get penetration, and you don't want these guys getting any movement, because any kind of movement moves what? Moves the scrape line back further, which means you're giving these guys a 4-yard head start. Before they even get the ball on the ground, they got 4 yards of carry on you. You're dead. So when you're putting these kind of personnel in front, you're protecting these 2 guys from the inabilities of them being able to take on blocks and these gigantic O linemen. You're keeping them free so they're not getting hit, and you're actually counting on athleticism. What's the one thing we're hearing out of camp about these guys? Bond is very athletic and aggressive. White is very athletic. Well, if that's what you have and these guys aren't the most physical guys on the planet, put big dudes up there. Keep their scrape lane free. Have this look. Carter taking on the guard. Don't let him get inside release. Don't let him get outside release up here, where if he's got to go down the line of scrimmage, he's blocked. This guy's got to be engaged. Take care of him. Take care of the center. Take care of the other guard. And these guys setting the edge. The problem that you're going to have here with these edge guys is this inside release from a tackle. If this tackle comes down here and come down play side, and they pull this guard and they pull that guard around to come around the corner here, you could have what Lombardi would call a lane, and you can't create those lanes. That's why your secondary guys, you're free and you're strong, are going to have to be great tacklers back here, and they're going to have to know with great communication what they're doing. But what they're doing up front, just by this depth chart from what I'm reading, they're keeping these guys, they're trying to keep these guys clean. And they don't want these guys taking on anything up front because they know they can't take the physicality of it. That's what that 52 does. Okay? Let's see here. Fangio understands his personnel and adjusts to the scheme accordingly. Well, and unlike Twiz once again is not playing the factor of his – he can call me that all he wants. They initially opened up with a 34. Why? Because that's Howie's personnel. Vic came in there and saw it, and Vic changed it up. The OTAs and minicamp depth chart was set by Howie. It's set by Howie. Vic's in camp now. He goes, we don't have those guys. He's basically telling Howie, you didn't at tooling the linebacker core. So let's get the rest of it here. Actually, I like your defense a lot better in that scheme. Bond and White are your starters. How about this as backups? You know who your backups are? Jacoby Dean and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Kudos. Corner, Slay. Get this. They got Keely Ringo and Isaiah Rodgers as co-starters at corner. Maddox in the slot. Safeties, Gardner Johnson and Reed Blankenship. Pretty much what I said. Quinyon Mitchell is back up to Slay. So there's your defense. Huff and Sweat, your edge guys. Your three interior linemen covering the guards and center. Davis, Carter, Milton Williams. White and Bond are your inside two linebackers. Isaiah Rodgers is pretty much what I said. Rodgers is going to get that job. Rodgers and Slayer, your corners. Maddox is your slot. Gardner Johnson is your safety, and the other safety's Reed. It's not awful. It's not awful. Doesn't that expose a lot of underneath passes and tire out your defensive rotation? Two linebackers, your corners, hey, your edge have to get home. And your safeties have to be sure tacklers. They got to get guys on the ground. And by the way, Gardner Johnson can't be hurt. Or get this, Justin Simmons' price just went up. If I am Justin Simmons, I'm watching what's going on in Philly. Knowing that I heard that Gardner Johnson went in for an MRI today. By the way, the amount of IQ you have to play this style of defense is insanity. You need experienced dudes out there. They're going to go out and get another DT for depth and rotation. I think they want to see, Sam, what's going to have camp casualties. I don't know when the first cut is, but when the first cut is, I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles pick someone up. Daniel goes like this. Says that Gardner Johnson's fine. You mean like last year? Missed the entire season? And he's gone in for an MRI already. He's fine? Wishful thinking. Sills, does that change if the Eagles make a move for Judon, Bosa, or Crosby? Most of those guys, I would say, are completely out of the realm of chances of getting. Judon probably of all guys. Because here's the deal. Huff doesn't show shit. How long are the Patriots going to wait to keep Judon on the roster? Someone's going to get him. The Patriots know that. 2 and a 5 and $20 million. Remember, that's what that price tag's going to be for him. You're going to be get this too, Kyle. Kyle, you're in the same boat you were in with Reddick. Update on Sidney Brown. I bet John McMullen will be able to give that to you right after the program here. There's a special edition of Birds 365. Okay? Thank you, Prince. Guys, please hit the like button. Sidney Brown got hurt last year. He won't play this season. And he's got a lot of work to do on his game, too. So, wait. I didn't hear Cooper DeJean's name. Why would you? He's injured. I must have missed it. No. His name's not on the depth chart. Why would it be? You're in the tub. You're not on the depth chart. I'll save Sidney for the playoffs. I'm awake. Are you? Are you under some sort of impression that Sidney Brown is like, what, Ronnie Lott? Kid's got a lot of work to do. Over pursues. Doesn't have good pursuit angles. Can hit. Needs to have the game slow down in front of him a little bit. It was one of the issues he had. He wasn't a very good tackler last year. Over pursued. Pursuit angles weren't the best. That was his issue when he came out of Illinois. He's a good-looking prospect. Not saying that. I actually like the kid. But his pursuit angles and his tackling is not the best. Brown's a hitter. How does that help in today's NFL? Here, look at this. This just shows you how antiquated Andreas' take is. Brown's a hitter. They don't want that today. What's that got to do with today's hitting and playing secondary in the NFL? Didn't you hear what Vic Fangio said the other day? The game's played more in space. You can't really get people on the ground any longer. They took the hit drop tackle away. I mean, defenseless receiver, Brown's a hitter. That doesn't help him play. How does that help him play? Chad, thank you very much, man. That means a lot. He gets to the ball seals. That's true. He does. But you got to know what to do when you get to the ball. And he runs through the player. Dude, he's not a bad player. I'm not saying that. He's got work to do. How much football has he? The only way you get better playing football is playing football. He hasn't played in a year and a half. What makes you think he'll walk on the field and it's not going to happen? Shit, this guy Cooper DeJean is not going to be an impact player probably till the bye week. It doesn't work like that. He's young, relax. There's a reason he went in the third. Dude, he wasn't good last year. That's a great take. Hold on for a minute. Nolan Smith is backing up Josh Sweat. The 31st pick in the draft is a second teamer going into his what? His second year? I mean, and they tried moving Sweat. So you got a third rounder and a first rounder, 30th pick and a third rounder. It's backups. Hey, way to draft. Remember all you guys debating me on how he's defensive drafting? Not in Vic's defense. They're backups. And once again, your cornerbacks are rentals. Now, Quinyon Mitchell, it's not fair to him to sit here and say, well, he ain't Sauce Gardner. Now, to be fair to that, Sauce Gardner got to a shitty Jets team. Quinyon got to a very, very good Eagles team. However, a shitty secondary. Okay? You can say all you want. Well, Sauce got to a shitty Jets team. True. You were the 31st ranked secondary in the league in pass coverage. Don't make it sound like you were some sort of all-pro secondary. You're not. That's what I'm telling you. Dan, can you believe these salaries, $10 million up to $50 million a year, and no two-a-days, no pads, no hitting, almost no real practice? Go figure. That's why I'm here, Charlie. The shit that we did though was a little bit over the top, and we didn't need all those practices. So I get it, but you need to practice football, man. I think this is one of the reasons, Charlie, that you get lower extremity injuries early in the season. You see ankle injuries, shin injuries, hyperextensions, a lot of twisted ankles. I think this is one of the reasons why you see those lower body extremities. The new turf doesn't help with those black seeds that are on them. I think all that plays into factor, and you don't really get a lot of field work like you used to in the day to get yourself ready. Howie gets too cute with too many draft picks. Wanted the impression that he's a football guru. He's not. Issue is the only reach that worked is Sweat. Hurts 2 guys in a decade. You're talking defense. Well, here, look. Devontae is a great pick. I think he's actually gotten better in the last 3-4 years. But prior to that, I never thought shit of him as a pick, as a draft analyst, or a draft evaluator, and I never thought shit of him as a defensive draft guy. He's never really drafted anybody of significance on that side of the ball. Jalen Carter is not a hard pick. He could have went 2. Got him at 9. The only reason that they kind of debated it was because of the car wreck that killed someone. By the way, if Jalen Carter didn't, this is going to sound terrible. You're lucky you had a situation in Georgia happen for you to get Carter. Because if it didn't, he'd have went 2 or 3. If there was no issue with someone dying in Georgia in that mess, he ain't going 9. I told you that year in that draft, there were 5 dudes in that sandbox, and he's one of them. And Bijan was my other guy. Okay? If that guy doesn't have a situation where he's involved where someone dies, you don't get him at 9. You don't get him at 9. Some of you are going like this. Damn, that's harsh, Sales. Well, am I telling the truth? That has nothing to do with the poor person that was deceased. This conversation has nothing to do with them. The reality is you're not getting that player at 9 if he's not involved if someone dies. You're not. He's going top 5 for sure. Seattle's probably taking him instead of the kid they took, Witherspoon. Okay? So don't try to tell me that Howie did some guru move. They made an organizational decision to take a chance on the kid because of character, not because of his ability. Nobody on the planet thought that he had nobody had issues with his ability. That wasn't a hard pick. You had to swallow it for assholes like Reuben Franks asking, hey, I don't really feel that you feel like contrite over what happened. That's none of your business, guy. That's none of your business how I feel if someone passed away. Who the hell are you? My conscience? I'd like to have a couple people have a couple interviews, work at the Inquirer, have the mic turned around to your ass. Ask some of those questions. This is the depth chart for the preseason. I'm not putting much stock. Where do you see that there would be change in that depth chart? Where in the world would you see change? Becton will probably win that job. Brandon Graham's not beating Huff out. None of those backup tackles are beating any of the interior tackles, Milton Williams, Carter, and Davis out. Sweat's not being beat out by Nolan Smith. Devin White and Bond, you think they're going to get beat out by Trotter and Dean? Nope. You think Slay's getting beat up by Quinyon Mitchell? No. There's going to be zero changes on defense. And there'll be zero changes on offense except potentially at right guard and wide receiver 3. That's it. Guy goes, I'll take no. It's not like you have a lot of positions that are up for battle on your football team, dude. Quinyon is the starting slot. No, he's not. It's Avonte Maddox. Sales isn't devaluing the linebackers, telling you opponent's offense were to attack your defense. Correct, Cobra. That's right. Cobra, here's to your point. You have the Bill Belichick mentality. A Cobra, here's where Belichick will attack the Eagle defense. Now that you're putting like that 5-man front in there, he's not going to run the ball on you. Okay, he's not going to run the ball on you. But he knows that there's a gap in the seam because you have 2 linebackers. Tight ends are going to be a big play in that game. If you were to play a New England team coached by Belichick, he would attack the middle of the field. And that's why tight ends, because again, the linebacking core, you got to get off the line of scrimmage. By the way, you're also going to do quick hitches on the Eagles. Control and contain. Control and contain. So you're going to have 10-yard passes, flare passes, check downs. That's how you kind of loosen up the defense. Spread them out, get them in space, attack the linebackers, and attack the corners underneath. You don't have anybody to cover them. You're going to play 10 yards off the ball again. That's going to be your style of defense. It's a zone defense. Get used to it. That's what's happening here. It's a zone defense. Seals, is there a chance Mitchell could start by the end of the year? Absolutely, Kyle. Absolutely. Absolutely. There is no chance DeJean is not on the 53-man roster. No one said he wasn't. He's injured. Nobody said that. You don't have to be on the 2 deep to make the roster. Think about it. 22 and 2011. Okay, 22 and 22 are 44. Okay, there's 53 active on a Sunday. I mean, there's 53-man roster Sundays. So, who said he's not on it? Nobody. Sills, who's a better cornerback in 22 draft? Gardner's better. McDuffie's good, though. That's the guy I wanted you guys to draft. Everybody didn't want him. Everybody in Philly's like, no, man, not him. No. And I'm like, that guy's a star. Kansas City drafted him. And now he's potentially an all-pro. Cosmo goes, Sills, what's your next move? Patience. Here's my positions I'm identifying. I got to find competent linebackers, and let me see what the safety position does. And if the safety position in the next 2 weeks doesn't pan out, I'm going to call Justin Simmons up and have more of a serious conversation with him. And I'm going to get Vic involved, and we're going to have a talk. What do you want to do? 2-year deal? Option? I don't know. But you need to have some competent. And if Gardner Johnson is injured and DeJean's not back until the bye, what are you talking about? Relying on James Bradbury? I don't want to rely on James Bradbury. That is your ultimate safety net thing. And it's not much of a safety net. I don't want any of that. Sills, who do you want the Eagles to draft this year? I want them to get an edge and a linebacker going into the draft. And in the third round, give me some depth at tackle, D-tackle. Fourth round, draft me in a linebacker. Okay? Give me a little bit of help back there. Maybe even a red zone back. I don't know. Later in the draft. DeJean will likely be back before the regular season starts. That doesn't mean he'll be ready. He goes, what are you talking about buy for? So get this, Sam says. This guy's going to miss probably 85 to 90% of the entire preseason. And he thinks some dude from Iowa who comes off a hamstring injury is going to walk into Sao Paulo and play against Jordan Love and the Packers and Matt LaFleur. How asinine is that? I mean, honestly, who do you think this kid is? He's a good player, but he ain't that. Get this. Sam goes like this. This is a perfect example. He's a better athlete than Blankenship, hands down. Devin White's a better athlete than Zach Bond. But the only linebacker the Eagles are talking about is Zach Bond. Why is that? Because he knows what to do. Ravens game, that's a little too deep. That's a problem, man. That's week 12. Get this. Daniel goes, you live to piss people off. Well, if telling the truth pisses you off, Daniel, that's a you thing, guy. That's a you thing. You sound like people I know in my own family. You don't want to hear the truth? Don't ask me the question. Dan, the way the D looked, we might have. Now, I'm going to go with Prince and what some of you guys said about the tackling, and Twiz said it too. There was no tackling and the quarterback's not live. So you got to kind of waffle that a little bit. Okay? You got to kind of like walk that back a little. You can't be too crazy with that. You got to kind of be cool with it. We have seen worse things happen. I think the kid from Iowa, can come in and start. Sure. Wake me up when that happens. Thank you, Bruce. Seals, would you target Quincy Williams or C.J. Mosley of the Jets? I like that kid, C.J. Mosley, but I thought the Jets just gave him a little bit of a contract extension, and they gave him some money last year. So I don't know what that contract looks like. There's a relationship, obviously, with Joe Douglas, but I could have swore the Jets gave him some money and a brand new deal a year ago. Becton threw up day one of camp. Soft, not cut out to be in the league. No, that doesn't necessarily mean that. These college players coming into the league got to get used to it. Well, it's hard for us, for the guys, especially guys at big-time programs, to come into the league today and be game ready. Most of those players that play at Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, you're being rotated. You're being rotated for recruiting reasons. You can't play me 75, 80 plays like you did back in the day, or me and Jerome. You can't do that. I got Russell Maryland and Cortez Kennedy behind me. These guys are first-round picks. And those guys are going to want to play immediately. So today, you've got to pull me and Jerome out of games and play those guys to keep them on your own roster. What does that mean? Well, instead of me being game ready to come into the league and play 70, 80 plays, I'm coming into the league only playing 40 plays. And sometimes when you're a starter, you got to play 65 plays. Reed Blankenship played 1,051 plays last year. It's just a different mentality in college football with all the rotational pieces that you have. You don't have guys. Get this, guys at small. You know what? A guy like Quinyon Mitchell is probably more condition-wise to play in today's NFL than Teron Arnold. Why? He probably played 70 plays a game. Arnold probably was pulled 65-0 game, and you're Alabama and you're beating the Citadel. I'm not going to play him 65 plays when I got LSU and Florida in back-to-back weeks. That's not working for me. I'm not doing that. Plus, I got an SEC schedule to get through. So a lot of these guys, especially the Georgia guys, one thing the Georgia guys, you guys are going like this. These guys are just out of shape. They're not out of shape. They're not in football shape. Think about the Kobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. What do these guys play a normal game? 40 snaps? Maybe. And this is what kills me about what you guys think about Bryce Huff. You guys think Bryce Huff's going to walk in and play 900 plays. Good luck. The kids at Georgia aren't even ready to play that kind of snaps. They melted down. Once again, Reed is good, but he's not and will not start. Cooper DeJean will start. Book it. Yeah, he ain't starting week 1. Not when you miss all the training camp. Not when you're missing training camp. So this guy's going to float in from playing against Northwestern and line up against the Packers? Sure. And by the way, you know what's crazy about Marshall's take there? Appreciate it, though, brother. Quinyon Mitchell won't start over a guy who missed a year. And he was your number 1 pick. But DeJean's going to walk in and start, right? Okay. Sills, what people don't realize it took 2 years to build the Chiefs defense. Kyle, the affordability, though, is what? 15. Big Sills, this will be my first year following you guys during football season. So what happens? Do you do pregame shows? I'm not sure what I'm doing yet. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I like that, Mr. Perez. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. By the way, another guy who me and him kind of battle back and forth. I like it. This is a preseason depth chart. So Sam doesn't get it. There's a reason that there's veterans starting right now. God. So you really going to put a rookie out there in the Packer game? I'd attack him every day. I'd go right at him. Chiefs also have one of the best defensive coordinators in the business. They have the best coordinator in the business. Sills, did you know that Bobby Bowden was supposedly to take the Marshall head coaching job in 1969? Yes, I do know that. He was also supposed to take the Alabama job. He was offered it. I forget what year it was, but he was offered it, I believe. I think Bobby was offered the job when Coach Bryant left. Then they gave it to Ray Perkins got it. And I think after Gene Stautner or Gene, forget his name, left, I think they offered him the job after Gene Stallings. And I think they offered it to Coach Bowden then, but he turned the Alabama job down, if I'm not mistaken. All right, guys, I'm going to take a timeout. Don't forget, we have a special Birds 365. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Stills National Football Show. You guys absolutely kicked ass today, and I can't thank you enough. Prince, how about that, man? What did we get, 265 today? Is that what we did today in likes? Guys, please hit the like button here, man. That's absolutely awesome. Still signing Jeffrey Simmons. You think that signing replaces Fletcher's absence? You know, you spent too much equity on 13 and 9 in the 2 previous drafts. You're not going to go sign a $20 million a year guy. To me, the guy is Hendrickson in Cincinnati, and I don't know if Duke Tobin is not just going to send that guy and not want to get equity back in draft picks because they're going to lose T. Higgins. You got to remember where they are right now, the Bengals. T. Higgins is a casualty. The Cincinnati Bengals, in the history of the Bengals, once they franchise tag you, they have never brought that player back in the history of the team. What does that tell you? He's gone. So they're going to need draft equity to get another wide receiver for what? A $55 million quarterback that they just gave that money to. So they're going wide receiver next year in the draft. They're going to go wide receiver, OT, wide receiver, OT, wide receiver, OT. Or they're not going to ever go free agency because the Bengals don't spend that money because of Mike Brown's zipper on his wallet. Their putt is going to always be slower in rebuilding when they lose players. Why? Because they don't dabble in free agency. They let guys go. Duke Tobin's a pretty good talent evaluator. He's not awful. They've done a nice job there. And anytime you get a centerpiece like a quarterback, okay, I mean, that's always going to put you in a position where you're going to be able to throw yourself out of trouble if you get in any kind of issues when it comes to not having a proper draft. Yeah, that's right. See, this is the difference between, hey, Joshua, the difference between the Bengals and the Eagles. Eagles are going to spend money. They're going to spend money, but they're only going to spend money on one side of the ball, offense. They're not going to spend any money in equity at all on defense. Like I said, the Bryce Huff deal, they didn't spend any money on him. They just moved money over. They robbed Peter to pay Paul. That's Huff's money. Or Huff got Reddick's money. They didn't upgrade the salary side over there. They didn't. I mean, the only money they spent actually is Gardner Johnson. And the 2 guys that they spent money on, Gardner Johnson And Huff belongs on a milk carton so far in camp. And according to John Clark, he had an MRI today. So, hey, by the way, my friend, we're going to talk a little bit later on in the week. Hopefully you guys will get a kick out of it. Ice Cube's going to join me on Thursday. And I believe tomorrow, Phil Simms is going to join us. So we'll talk to him as we get ready. And I'm trying to get Kadri Ishmael on, who's part of the broadcast team for the Ravens. By the end of the week, we'll talk a little Ravens football as well. So we appreciate it. Guys, don't forget, stay tuned now for a very special edition of Birds 365. Xander and John will give you the latest. John will probably give you more intel on what's going on with the injuries. He'll go more into depth on that depth chart, okay, on how the Eagles are looking right now as they get ready for the first exhibition game. So we appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Joe, Xander, we thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow. See you on the flip side.